Hello. All right. Everyone in. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Letting myself in. Let me myself in on this side.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Afra. All right. Let me open this up. And this up. Hi, Jarmoon. Everyone, please go to the chat where Jarmoon and Mason just said hello. Please go in there and say hello. Good afternoon. There we go. And now I am closing these guys. Hold on. Almost done. And connecting with this side of the computer. And then we'll be done. Okay. Right, done. I'm in. Is everyone else in? A couple more people coming in. All right. Right. So before we go much further, I just do want to remind everyone that today my afternoon class begins, the one that begins at 4:30, and this class finishes at 4:10. So as of today, I will be strict. Like I need to have lunch, restroom, whatever before I barge in until 8 p.m. I'll be teaching the afternoon class. So I need those 20 minutes. So if you have a question and you haven't answered it before that time, I hate to do this, but I will go, nope, sorry, can't answer. I need to go. All right. So most of the times I stay and I answer questions afterwards. I cannot do that no matter how urgent your question is. So what I'd like to do, and I ask for you guys to help me with this, is that if by 4 p.m. I'm still lecturing and that's 10 minutes left, remind me, ideally before that, that it's time to stop and, get questions answered. Because, normally I leave 15 minutes for questions. That would be at 3:55. But the thing is that sometimes I'm in the middle of something, so I have a bit of leeway. But I don't want to embark on something. I have an alarm set on my phone, but I tend to be one of those people that hears the alarm in the background and kind of like I'm teaching, it's just bugging me, but I don't like listen to it. So anyway, I request help from you guys to tell me, you might hear the alarm ringing because it's right next to me. It's a song starts playing on my phone, or just go, hey, don't forget you need to leave or something like that. Some of you guys are really good at that, and some of you guys are like me. We just keep going. So anyway, that's my request for help. Everyone go down to the chat, please, and give me a little hey ho there. Got it. Thank you, Jarmoon. If you have any message for me, please write it there. And if you have any questions for me about anything that's been happening that you want to just lay it out in the chat, so that when I get around to questions, I can begin to see what's happening. You can do that too. All right. Yes, Afra's
I'm
hand
not
is.
getting this
Yes,
meeting.
boy, I have two pictures of you.
You're not getting what of me?
I have two pictures of you, two
I
videos.
always connect with two computers, so you
Oh.
should have two pictures of me.
Oh,
Good,
yeah.
Catherine,
I
let's-
didn't notice getting this meeting's being recorded, so I just wanted to make sure you're recording.
it is recording. Yes, it is. It's probably so transparent to you at this point, like me with the alarms, it's just, you just say yes, but yeah. But thanks for having me check because yes, I have to check on the top right and it says recording, beam, beam, beam. So yeah, it's being recorded. All right, great. Was that your question, Afra? Did you have another question or was it
No,
about seeing me
okay,
twice?
that's what it,
Okay.
my name did.
Great.
Yeah, my hand was up.
Perfect. I'm gonna put this out of the way a little bit. And I use my computers for two different things. Sometimes I need to. Okay. So yeah. So welcome back. And you guys had homework. And this is a very hands-on class in that we do as much as we can in class, and sometimes I have time to help people one-on-one, like I did the other day for some people. But when I do that, it's not because I'm trying to favoritism and help one person and not the rest. It's just that this isn't a class for me to do things for you. It's for you to learn how to do it for yourself. So sometimes I'll use someone who shares a screen as demo to keep showing things, but the idea is you're doing that on your own computer at home. You know what I mean? To yours. It's not for, so if I say do this, do that, just pay attention and learn from it. But keep working on yours, right? And if there's something that's strange or weird and you're sharing your screen, I might use that as an opportunity to share with others. I'm seeing this big light coming through the back. That's just the light streaming in. Okay. So please give me now reports on what happens during your, today is Monday, so hopefully, oh, my computer says it's running out of battery. What happened? Oh, there. The power on this computer is very weird in that it move it a little bit and it stops charging, and I don't want the computer to fail mid-class. There it is. I have to jiggle it a bit and then it starts to work. So what I want is to have reports on how it's going. So when I see, that was an example of my alarm. I don't know if you guys, did you guys hear a little bit in the background? Oh, and then you won't hear my alarms. It was, I just stopped it as one that I had snooze saying class starts. And so when I was saying it kept going. All right. So, Bob, nice to see your new look. Um, so Bob the Explorer. You know that those things are called, I don't know if you guys might know, but I didn't know they were called bucket hats, and they're the in thing again for boys for some reason. Girls might be too. They're all wearing bucket hats now. And I was like, what's the, and I had a girl from Brazil. We always have students from other countries who live with us for the school year. And I had a Brazilian girl here who really liked this one guy who she became boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever with the guy. And my kids, what they had against him is that he always wore bucket hats, like everywhere he had a bucket hat on. And the funniest one is when he appeared once with an IKEA bucket hat. You guys know IKEA, the store, whatever. You know those big blue bags with yellow. He appeared with an IKEA bucket hat with the thing on it. He was having fun with it, but my kids were like, no, that guy must be an idiot because he wears those bucket hats, and it's like silly. Anyway,
Dermatologist recommended it.
who what?
My
Yeah,
friend-
dermatologist. I know, no, it's a good idea. I'm not saying it's not, but it just reminded me of like that it's a thing now. So you're in,
Didn't know
Bob.
it's
You're
not.
totally in with the cool crowd. Anyway, and you'll save your skin. Both two things at the same time. So you guys, I'm not seeing anything written in the chat yet, and I'm not seeing hands up. So there must be no burning questions. And I always go, either there's no questions because either I explained it really well and everyone's doing it great, or you have no idea what to do. So you're just kind of lying low in the background. Either way, the homework was to keep working on creating that structure, those folders in your documents folder, where you're going to be putting all the material according to some organizational method that works for you. So if you make recipes, you'll have a very detailed folder with all kinds of subfolders and subfolders. If you are a writer, or, you know, do have to, you know, public speeches, you'll have them organized by theme, by material, by date, whatever works best for you, right? So who did some more organizing and created at least 2 or 3 more folders to organize? And those of you who are very organized already, but had too many folders, hopefully you've condensed to become a bit more efficient. If you did that, raise your hands. So if you have done anything different or new about organizing your material over this last, you know, Wednesday through Monday, if you did any organizing, give me a yes. If you're like, nope, I don't do anymore because I'm all ready to go, I have nothing else to organize, give me a yes as well. And for those of you who are still in the conundrum, or I'm not sure, or yeah, I didn't have time to do it, so my computer still isn't organized, but I'm just watching, then give me a no. And it's okay if you give me a no or a yes. I just want to have an idea of what's happening back in the, so if you're not organizing because you don't need to, because you're already organized, or if you did organize, even if you're not done, that's a yes. And no, I'm not organizing for whatever reason. I don't need excuses. I don't care, just for whatever reason, then give me a no. All right. So let me see there. Okay. So most of you guys have answered. Some of you guys aren't answering, but for the most part, I've got my yeses and nos. Okay. So if you, someone says they sent me a message. If a message means an email, I'm not seeing them.
Yeah, I sent you, just above that, I said I moved all my downloads into my documents. Susan,
Oh, okay. All right. I don't, that's the only one I see is that you're saying that you sent.
well, you have
Yep.
two, you have a she, he, and Ella, she, her, and Ella, and then you have a host and a co-host. So you have two things two things you can
It-
send messages to.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah, I don't
But
know.
I got it. Okay, I get it. She, her, and Ella is my ella is she in Spanish. Okay, it says ella, she or her in Spanish. Okay. Let me say that and I see your downloads into documents message now. It was just up higher and I hadn't moved up or lower, and I hadn't moved lower. The switch from what she just said, what Susan just said, is that she moved all her downloads into documents. And the reason I wasn't seeing it, Susan, and just for anyone who sends me messages, please, when it's class stuff like this, please send it to everyone, not to me. The only
Oh,
reason you
okay.
would write to me is saying, you know, the gardener's coming, I'll step out for half an hour. Class doesn't need to know that or something like that. But if it's an answer to my questions, please answer to everyone. That way that won't be an issue. I had to switch to seeing messages just for me to see your message, okay?
Oh, okay, okay.
That's all. It's just that I don't see them immediately as I do the everyone's
Everyone, all right,
messages.
okay.
So that's all. And then when I asked you guys to move things from your downloads into your documents folders, which is what she just did, I think about 80% of you guys had your material in the cloud, and about 20 did not, or something like that. And since I need to see that division, because I know a couple of you switched, I want to see that again, that division of things. If your material, if your documents and folders are in the cloud, like when you go to your bar, you see that the final resting place for that is the cloud, give me a yes. If when you check out your documents and folders, your stuff is on your computer, then give me a no. I need to see it. I think at the beginning of class, there was an even-ish split where there was more in the cloud and less online, but then I know 2 people switched. So I need to kind of see that division again. So yes, if your stuff is in the cloud, no, if it's not. And if you forgot how to check and you don't really remember, we're going to keep talking a lot about this today. So Here's an example. This is my Finder window. If I go to the documents, when I look at my path bar down here at the bottom, it ends up in the cloud. Okay, so my documents are in the cloud. Check my desktop, it's in the cloud. Versus if I check my downloads, then it's in my Macintosh. So for those of you who your documents are in your Macintosh hard drive, you give me a no. If your documents is in the cloud, then give me a yes. So that's the answer you need to give me. So now I need, hopefully everyone remembers remembers what I'm asked, or how to check on what I'm asking. All right, so now I'm looking and I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 yeses and 3 nos. Okay, so we're getting more people on the cloud and less people on their own computers. And remember, those of you who stuff in the cloud, you also have it in your computers, just you have it also in the cloud system where it goes around. It's not like they're not in your computer, right? They're just here, but they are reflected in all your other devices, including the cloud, which is not a device, but it's a place for things to hang out. And then here in my documents folder, I've gotten to a place where I don't have loose things hanging out. If I were to have loose things hanging out, they'd be in a folder called to organize, for example, or I haven't dealt with them yet, right? So maybe they'll be in a thing called miscellaneous. I have a folder always, and I haven't created it here, but I always have a miscellaneous folder because not everything I own falls into either writing or travel or recipes, right? So you could just have a personal general one. But personal, I might have things, like you might have, have a health, a financial. It's not that health and financial is it personal. So instead of personal, you might just have like the miscellaneous, because now and then you'll have a file that you need to keep, but it doesn't easily classify into anything. So you put it into a miscellaneous, like other files. Once you have 3 or 4 recipes in that others file, you might want to consider, well, maybe it's time to make a recipes folder. But if you just have 1 or 2, you know what I mean? The moment the miscellaneous gets clogged with similar things, then just, suddenly you began having a pain in the leg and you download 5 different things from someone telling you how to exercise that leg, or a dietary restriction recipe. Well, it's time to make a folder called, fix that leg or whatever exercises, and then put them somewhere together. So just consider that the more you organize, the better for your stuff. Now, 2 classes ago, and I'm going to tackle it right now, I said, if you find any files that you don't know what they are, please write their extensions, right? And most of the times, these files that we don't know what they are in the downloads. Now, I'm going to spend a little bit more time now dealing with those. Here we go. Open this a little bit bigger. Okay. My computers have given me a message that they need to, because I downloaded new software for my phone, so now my computer needs new software. Sorry, it was a message that wasn't letting me, you don't see it because I'm not sharing it, but wasn't letting me move forward. I had to answer it. So guys, the little tidbit that I just gave you, that message that came from the computer to me, those things are called dialog boxes. And whenever you hear someone say, what's in the dialog box, not that you'll hear it a lot, but if you hear it from someone who's trying to fix your computer, or you're telling them what's wrong, it's the computer talking to you. And the way it talks to you is like this and this and this. Say yes or no or cancel. Like, right? It's dialoguing to you by giving you the option to say continue or no or okay or quit or that kind of thing. And so that's a dialog box, is when the computer needs you to respond. Now, here's the thing. When there's a dialog box open and asking you do this and you don't respond to it, everything just kind of stops and the computer just sits there like, I'm not going to move forward until you answer me, right? So just now I was trying to move forward and I couldn't, and found that down there behind Zoom I had a dialog box telling me they needed to download software for my phone to be able to be shared. So I had to do it. So just don't ignore those boxes, or don't just say no, or cancel to everything without reading it and seeing which one it was going to be. Barbara, I don't understand your question. Today's connection link?
It wasn't a question. I was trying to get into class and I didn't see
Oh,
the email you sent this morning. I was trying to get in with another.
oh, got it. Okay. For the most part, I try to set, those are reminders that are automatic and I try to set them about 6 a.m.-ish, sometimes a little bit later, but for the most part, I'm trying to catch people who are gonna, leave during the morning to remember that at 1 they have a class, because sometimes people are out and about. Most people aren't out and outside of their homes, out and about before 6. So if you ever look at, you have a lot of meals arriving, look at the about 6 a.m.-ish, and then you'll see my reminder email. Sometimes a little bit later, depending on the day, but for the most part, that's about when I set it. Now, the thing that I wanted to really, really emphasize is that anything that's in the downloads is where? Anything that's in the downloads, what's the location for those files?
On your computer.
Yeah, you brought them down from the internet, from your email, from your messages, from wherever you brought them in from. They're in your computer, always, for everyone, no matter your yes or no answers about before. But the moment you put them in your documents folder, for people whose stuff is in their computers already, it's just a quick switch. For people who move it into the documents folder and it's in the cloud, then that is a change of location, which when again, if I grab this thing that's in my downloads and I move it to my documents folder, no biggie, it just moves to my documents folder. Because I went from my downloads to my document folders. That file is now in the cloud. So if I go to my documents folder, on the other hand, here it is. I just dropped it in general, and since I don't have a folder for it, it just dropped down there. The opposite way, if I move it from here to downloads, and this is only happens to the people whose stuff is in the cloud, if I move it from here to downloads, I'll get this message. Are you sure you want to remove it from the iCloud Drive? It'll be moved to the Mac, to your downloads folder, right? And it will no longer be available in the iCloud Drive to any of your devices. That makes sense, doesn't it? Because when you move it to your computer's downloads, it is not in the cloud anymore. So it's fine. You still see it. Doesn't matter where it is. And I'm going to say move again. But now if you try to go to your phone or your iCloud.com or to your iPad and go look for it, you won't get it. It's only in your local downloads computer. Okay. Viola, in my downloads, I have the whole content of Intro to the Mac. Yeah, it's typical that when you download something, and if you downloaded the files from the class files, that they would be in your downloads, because if they came from the Google Drive that I shared with you guys with class files, anything you download goes into your downloads folder. All right, so the first day that I talked to you about the file, not the file, the Finder window, we talked about views, right? And I mentioned how in the other folders, documents or desktop, I like to think I like the alphabetical order, because then if I'm going to go to file travel files, I'll just open travel and I know that there are travel files for me to talk about. If I go to class files, then I know to go to the C. So that's easier for me. But in my downloads, what matters is when they arrived. So I'm not sure that I showed you how to divide into this, that I see previous 7 days or not. So let me just show you that for the downloads folder. Up here, where you see the little icons on the Finder window itself, there's one called Group. And remember, if you don't see the names, right, you just see little icons. If you right click and see icon only, you might be seeing things like this, and it might be harder to distinguish. So I went to some neutral place, right click, and chose icon and text, and now it's the one called Group. And now in this one is where I decided to have my downloads divided by date added. So if I said none, then it would default into alphabetical order, right? So then I can click name and it'll be in alphabetical order in one way or another. Now, if it's alphabetical order, how come R and Z are ahead of 1. And Y is 1 ahead of A. And it's because this is the 1 is ahead of A because it's alphanumeric, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are going to be first. Then you'll start with the A, right? But there's one thing about these two files here as to why are they above the A and why are they above the 1? And it's because there's a space in the name in front of the R, and spaces are even higher, so to say, they trump numbers. So if I right click this and change the name to this file, see how there's an extra space over here. If I click on it and delete that space, there you go, then this will just disappear, and it's because it'll go and set itself down in the R's. If I go all the way down to the R's, there's my rocket file, okay? But if I right click and rename it and add a little space in front, just a space, and I then let go, it zoomed all the way to the very top because it's ahead of numbers. Now, I don't do this often, but I do use this trick now and then when I need to, when I have, you know, a lot of files and I know that I need to find it easily. And the one example I have for that is that in your class files, let me share my screen of my class files. When you, there's my class files in the hard drive. You'll notice that I have Zoom class recording, Zoom class, and then I start with A, B, C. If I see this by list, I have a folder comes on top that trumps, right? The file names. And then I have ZZ, and then I start with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, because I added, can you see there's a little extra space in front of this name? If I were to right click and rename it, you'll see it right there. There's this extra spaces there. That way I'm faking this name so that it pops on top so people can find that easily. Does that make sense, you guys? So that's not just a Mac thing, it's just a computer thing. It's a thing that you can use to trick. Now, if you do it to too many things, suddenly you have 10 files up there with an extra, you know, then it doesn't, it's more like a real reason for it. And in this case, the real reason is I don't want you guys to have to go all the way down to find the file that has the class recordings and such, so forth. I'm, guys, so funny. I'm standing today and my shoelaces, I just stepped on my shoelaces. I need to tie it. So I'm gonna bend over for a sec. Give me one sec. I don't want to, even though it's just not moving much, the little bit that I move, I don't want to step on the shoelace. There we go. All right. So I just want to show you that small trick. So now in my class files, sorry, in my Finder window, that's why when you do alphabetical order, the R and the Z in this case pop up, it's seemingly out of order, but it's because the name has a space in front. The place that I went to organize the downloads to see how new or not they are is under group. And when you say none, it's equivalent to say organized by name. So if I now say organized by name, there should be no changes because this is already organized by name. Okay, so you don't need to choose organized by name, but you could choose again by size, kind, that kind of thing. And then you go, wow, I have this big file here. Do I really need such a big file? It's a 20 gigabyte file. Wow, 20 gigabytes for one file. Do I really need that? Nope, I really don't. So, and it's a movie that means nothing to me. 20 gigabytes is a huge amount of, so I'm going to right click and move it to the trash. But guess what? Even if I moved it to the trash, and now I'm going to look at this one. Even though I moved it to the trash, that doesn't change things. It's still in my computer. Moving it to the trash is like putting it in the waste paper basket in your office or in your kitchen trash in the kitchen. It doesn't leave your computer. So that doesn't lighten anything. That just moves it to the trash. So you need to go to your trash, and I'm going to change to share my entire screen. If the trash has stuff in it and you open it up, it opens in its own Finder window, right? Hold on. And I have other thing. It opens in its own Finder window. And I have technically, it seems like 4 or 5 things here only. It says 6 items, but one of them is 20 gigabytes, right? So it's not about how many you have, but what kind of files you have, what weight they have. And on top of that, one is an innocent little folder, but if I open it up, there's well, in this case, it looks like there was nothing in it. Okay, sometimes there's a ton of stuff in the folders. That looks like this was an empty folder. Yes, you can have empty folders. So now, if you delete anything and leave it in the trash, it hasn't made space in your computer until you empty it. So you could either empty it by, as I said, you go to your trash icon, click it one time, a file window opens, a Finder window opens, you look at it and you go, yep, it's all fine, and I click on empty. That's one way to empty it. But another way to empty it, if you know that you just put something in the trash and you don't want to keep it, then you just go to the Finder and go to the word empty trash up there. Or you can go to the trash, and instead of clicking on it, you can just right click on it and say empty trash. So there's like 3 different ways to empty the trash. You can just choose the one you want. You don't have to. If you click on it, you get to review them and make sure that there is no mistake. A lot of the times, if you're learning how to do this, you might have trashed something by mistake. You might want to check, but after a while, you know that every time you trash something, you might as well just go ahead and empty your trash automatically, and it always remain relatively empty. So now I am going to empty my trash using this one. I'm going to click empty. And this message is, are you sure you permanently want to erase these items? Like permanently, it warns you, you cannot undo this action. Okay. This is not something you can fix. Once it's gone, it's gone. And then, and I do remember then someone saying the other week, well, I'm going to empty it. There it is. My trash is now empty. If I open see how it looks, a little icon that has nothing in it. It's an empty trash. My Finder window with the trash is empty. That stuff is technically gone and lost forever, unless you had a time machine, which is the backup that we're going to learn as of next week. We start with Mac level 2. If you have a time machine going, then you can go back into your time machine and retrieve that, even if you've trashed it in this computer. So now I'm going to go ahead and change my downloads back to date added, which I find is the best way, so that I can really go down here. And I didn't follow my instructions to you, because in this computer I need to leave things, and this computer, the oldest thing it has in my downloads is from you know, a year ago, and I need to leave some stuff here. Otherwise, later when I demo, I don't have a way to show this. And so that's why I leave stuff in my download. I don't need to leave that much stuff, and I don't leave some of the big ones, but yeah. And then you get the whole like previous. But if you have class files in here that are old, is not the reason to throw them away, but what's in them. Now, remember that I said that you guys had to write the kind of files that you don't know what they are? So now, hopefully in your downloads, you only have those left. And I have a couple of sample files here to show you. So JPEGs are always images. That said, the image could be a document, right? And so it could look like a document. But how do I know what it is without opening it and causing destruction to my computer in case it's a virus? Then you just preview it. And the preview, who remembers how to preview this file? I want to see what this is. How do I preview it?
Hit the space bar.
Yeah, I go to anything, doesn't matter what kind, and I hit the space bar. And I look at it and go, oh, okay, that is a file that I know or don't know. That's something I want or don't want. So I can then hit the space bar again. And that's a quick preview. If this file had been carrying a virus, previewing it does not a problem. It's double clicking and opening it in its actual program. That is a problem. That releases the virus or whatever it came with it into your computer. So you don't want to double click and open it. Like if I were right now, I'm going to double click on this one. I opened it. What's the difference from before? You can see that from before, I'll show you to you later, this program called Preview just opened it. JPEGs are opened by a program called Preview. And up here you see a title bar, and you know, you might not notice it looking much different than before. You have the reds. What's the difference? It's been technically opened. Once you open a file, it has a chance to enter your computer and release all of its viruses. The only difference was a double click. I'm gonna close this and see that even if I close the file, which we learned earlier on by doing the red button, the preview program was still left open. See that? And if the preview program is still left open, that means that the preview program is still running. Now I'm going to look at this Rocket file and just preview it. See that was a program called Preview. So it's really confusing because if a program's called Preview, what's happening when I'm telling you to do this and I'm calling it a preview? This is what they call a quick preview, which looks like, what's the difference? Well, quick preview. Notice that I'm just hitting the space bar and it says, if I want to open it, you have to open it with, and preview is the name of the program that opens it. So it's kind of like, wait, I'm calling this a preview. It's just a quick preview. Up and down on my space bar. If I actually want to open it, I have to double click, or I can see it and go, oh yeah, this is a file I want to open. And then I click with open with preview. And guess what? Now it's open in the preview program, the app called Preview. So the word preview gets really confusing. It's like, why do I need it when it's an image, right? So I'm going to close it again. And I'm going to show you that other things. Here we go. I'm going to open PDF. A PDF, I click on the space bar and I preview, and it's a PDF with multiple pages. And I could even click around to see what these multiple pages are, right? So there's many pages in preview mode, right? But if I actually want to see it to really be able to do something and alter it or change or anything, I actually have to open with the program. And on the Mac, the program that opens PDFs is the program called Preview. So if I say open with Preview, now it did open with Preview. And in this image, it's a little bit easier to see that something changed because my windows are here on the left showing me each page. And this is the preview program, so to say, the app. If I close it, then the preview program stays open. And when I quit it, the preview program has closed. But if I need it again, either double clicking it, and it had come in with viruses, that opening it that way brought the viruses in, versus the simple space bar up and down does not bring me a preview. I have a bunch of other stuff. You could be doing this in your document. It doesn't need to be just in your downloads. You can be doing this with any file that you have. Hit the space bar and bring it down. Now, that's a PDF. PDF are any files that arrive as a PDF. It's probably most of what you download from the internet is PDFs. And that's a document that has been, imagine it if someone hands you a flyer when you're walking by, or they give you, you go into the mail, you open and you receive, you know, ads for something, come to my store or visit my open house, whatever it is. All of those are examples in real life of what a PDF is like in the computer. It is a file that someone else created and they're sending to you. I didn't create this file. And that you can, sometimes they have multiple pages like this. It's typical of manuals, right? Like if you ever try to open the manual to the dishwasher, you just open, it'll come in a PDF mode. It's typical of invitations, flyers, of forms that need to be filled, registration forms. So PDF is a very general. And the key thing about a PDF, and I'm going to open it again, so I'm going to double click to open it. The key thing about them is that I can't change them. If I want to change this word environmental and delete it, I'm hitting the delete key, I can't, because it's immutable. That's the whole point of a PDF. It's made so that you can't change it. It's not something you can edit and go in there and work on. A PDF is that final form. I can use the preview program to do some highlights, just like I could in a computer. I could grab, in the real life, I could grab a highlighter and start highlighting some stuff. and there's a highlighting choice available to me here, and I can say I want yellow highlighter and then begin to highlight stuff. But as you can see, just like I could in real life or surround or circle it or something, that is not the same thing as changing it. I'm going to undo that because I want to get rid of my highlights. So that's all you can do to a PDF. Now, if you're a professional person and you're paying for a professional Adobe Acrobat PDF program, there is a way to edit these files, but it's an expensive program and most people don't have that program. So for the most part, when you write and send a preview, a PDF, that remains still. That's why manuals, books, booklets, so many things get sent as PDFs forms. You just fill in your information, but you don't change their questions that are on the form that you're trying to answer. So that's what a PDF is. Does anyone have any PDFs that they don't know what they might be because that you want to find out what it is? It's safe to just hit the space bar and look at it. It's safe. Don't double click on it. Anything you download from the internet that you don't know what it is, like maybe the name of it is XYZMD, blah, 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 like this. What if this comes to you from the internet? You have no idea what it is. Don't just double click to open them ever. Just spacebar them to preview them. Okay, that is safe. All right. I want you to go back to the chat and put the extensions, but I remember them from what you did before, but putting the extensions that you didn't understand what they were. But I'm going to show you the ones that are typically what people don't know what they are and the ones that are dangerous. But I'm going to stop right now first and ask Barbara, your hand has been up for a while. You've been very patient. So yeah, what's your question, Barbara? If you're
I'm
asking
sorry,
me,
if you're not too tired at the end of class, could you give me a couple minutes with Time Machine?
So I know that you arrived a little bit late, but the first announcement I made is nope. Today, no, but let me explain why. If you want to ask me something that's individualized, I will answer it as long as the question is answered before like the last 15 minutes of class, because today when I finish teaching at 4:10 p.m., I have another class starting at 4:30 p.m. Photoshop
Oh,
starts
you
at
don't need
4:30
to,
p.m.
you don't need to stay a minute longer. You need the break.
Not today,
I
exactly.
opened, I didn't open it up, but I kind of peeked. And what it was yesterday, Time Machine did not show on my monitor. And it's,
Okay, so let me stop for a minute. I also am not going to answer specific questions about things I'm not teaching during class. I'm going to leave the last 15 minutes for that, okay? So
Fine,
hang on
that's
to your
fine. No,
question.
it's
And
okay.
then, right? And then
I
one
will
more,
work it
and
out.
then, but I do want to say one important thing about what you're asking. And let me explain what that important thing is, which is that this is the last week of Mac Level 1. And next week, we start with Mac Level 2. And in Mac Level 2, it's one of the things that I deal with is Time Machine. So if you can just, if you have a
I'll wait.
burning question about Time Machine, then that is a perfect time to ask it. Now, I'm going to share my screen for you guys to find out if you're registered in Mac Level 2. So this Mac Level 1 finishes on Wednesday. So we have today and Wednesday, okay? And then next week, we start with Mac Level 2, October 21st. So Monday, Wednesday. And these are the names, and let me make this a little bit bigger. These are the names of the people who are registered in class. So I have the last three, Barbara, Catherine, and Denise here there. And then all the ones up until the S are here. If your name is not here, it's time to register for Mac Level 2. Mac Level 2 is 44263. Let me put that in the chat. CRN 44263 for Mac Level 2, which starts next week. And when I say it starts next week, meaning literally, even though you're coming to these classes, you will stop receiving any emails from me because it's a new link to join us. If you are here, good. if you are not here and you want to take the class, please make sure to register with time to start next Monday. But we are still meeting next Wednesday. And to Barbara's question, that is where I do a lot of, today in this class, we've been doing all the organization of files and whatnot. And hopefully by next class, we will have then, one of the things we'll be doing there is figuring out how to start doing backups, saving all of this stuff. And one of those backups is the time machine that Barbara was asking about. So, all right. Let me reshare my Finder window then. And I wrote in the chat, I wrote the DMG, and Robin wrote it too, .pkg and .dmg. So if you see .pkg, and I just wrote it in the chat, or .dmg, these, oh, not poke, that was a typo. Let me edit pkg. If you look at the chat, you just saw that I wrote pkg and dmg. Those are very important. And in fact, I believe, since I always demo getting rid of them, that I don't have any here. Let me do a search. Under kind. See, I hit the word kind so that all my files now organize themselves by kind. But I'm going to say none, so they're just by kind. And so I have 3 folders. I have 3 zips, and I'm going to talk about that. 3 many WAVs, which are waveform. These are sound, music, audio. Then I have RTF, which is rich text document. And by the way, I'm doing it here in the downloads because I have so many. If your downloads is empty, go and do this to your documents. You might, but ideally this is how you filter what goes into the documents. So you should only have weird stuff left. RTF, rich text document, that is letters. So if I were to click and try to see what these things are, then this is a very important document, is the only thing that's written in it, and that is a text document. If instead I click and spacebar one of these, it's a sound, and you can't hear it because I'm hearing it in my headsets, but it's audio. So maybe someone's a lecture that you're hearing, or someone's a book that you're listening to. Doesn't normally come in that mode, but that's what WAV means. MOV means movie, or so QuickTime movie, right? So if I hit and the space bar on this one, a movie starts, right? And it's showing it to me. And this is the space bar. But if I were to double click and open it, it would open in a program that runs movies, and that's when the viruses could come in, right? But versus if I do this and it's a video, okay? Now, someone last week wrote DMX or something like that, PPTX, and anything that the PPTX is PowerPoint, okay? So if I click on this one, it turns out that this is a little PowerPoint presentation. If I open this one, it's a PowerPoint presentation. So that's what PPTX means. PNGs, they're all images, right? So if I click on this, it'll be an image, but you're like, this isn't an image, this is text. Well, it's a screenshot of text. So sometimes we think of an image as images, right? But it could be that someone took a screenshot of something that's text, and thus it is still an image. It's still a photo of some kind, right? And so this is flowers, but it's a screenshot of flowers, and that's why it shows up as an image, okay? This is a save the date poster that was sent to school, and instead of sending it as a PDF, they send it as an image. So yes, even though it's got text and writing, it is an PNG because it's an image. And then you look at it and go, I want it, I don't want it. And if you don't want it, you right click and move to trash. That's the solution. Now, TXT, that means text, plain text document. There's RTF rich text document, which can have formatting, and TXT plain text document. And it's typical of licensing and that kind of thing. So those are just text documents. Bunches of PDFs. We just went through what, PDFs were all about. PDFs. And then every now and then there's a weird extension, because I told you extensions are dot and 3 letters for the most part. Sometimes it's dot and 4 letters. But then this one here is dot and the word numbers. It's possible that you might have dot and the word pages, or dot and the word keynote. Because for the first time ever, instead of giving you a 3 word extension, those 3 programs, numbers, pages, and keynote, which are the max version of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, their extension, anything that's after a dot, which is why you can't use dot in file names, because a dot means to the computer, this is the name of the file, and after that, it tells you what type of file it is. It's a PDF, it's a JPEG, it's an MP3, or it's a numbers file, meaning it belongs to the application called Numbers. So if I hit the space bar, then I see it's a spreadsheet, I see some numbers, but again, it's just previewing it. MP3 is sound. Like, yeah, I hope I didn't hear it, but it just killed my ears because my sound is really loud. So MP3s is songs or sound. But so was Wave. Remember up here we have Wave, so there's different extensions for the similar thing. This was also, I told you, sound. And MP3s are sound, usually music. Now, the dangerous ones, here's the DOCX, it's just Word document. So like PowerPoint was a PowerPoint from Microsoft. DOCX is Microsoft Word. XLX is Microsoft Excel. Okay. I have a ton of Excels because I have all my Excel files when I teach Excel over here. Then comes JPEGs, and you'll see that some JPEGs are JPG, and some JPEGs are JPEG, right? And it's exactly the same. They're just JPEGs, but see how here it says .jpeg in this JPEG? And what's a JPEG? A JPEG is an image, a photo, like your camera, the photos that come out of your camera, they're JPEGs, okay? So that's what they are. GIF, that's also an image. It's a different kind of image, but it's also an image. And then the ones that I was looking at, I have AI for Adobe Illustrator. I have a bunch of others. CSV, if someone has a CSV, that's like a spreadsheet also. It's a comma separated document. Okay, I've reached the end of the list of the kind of files that I have. And the ones that I want to warn you about are zip, DMG, and PKG. Okay. So, PKG and DMG are files, they're installer files. If anyone has one, you'll see that in front of them, hopefully the name is the name of a program, an application. So maybe you'll have Adobe Acrobat Reader or something like that, .dmg. Or any application that you download. Now, in the past, people had a lot of these hanging out. So if you have a lot of those hanging out, I venture to say that most of them are probably pretty old, and that once you clean them out, it's harder to have them anymore, because for years and years and years since the beginning, when you install a program, you receive in the mail somewhere a file that you download, and it downloads here, and it's called either PKG for package or DMG for disk image. Both of those are the program that you need to double click to open it and install it. Okay, I'm talking about, and this is a lot of talk, I know, but DMGs and PKGs is how you install a program. Now listen carefully. For years, those files, once you have installed a program, applications, they install themselves in the applications folder, right? So this is where all the applications are. But when I first installed and this is stuff that comes with a computer, but not with Apple, right? So Firefox doesn't come with Apple. It doesn't come. It's not an Apple program. So at some point, I went online and I said, I want to download Firefox or Google Chrome. Those of you guys who like to use Google for your browser instead of Safari. It doesn't come. You need to go and buy it, so to say, or for free, push a downloads button and it downloads. But it downloads here into your downloads folder. You double click on it and the computer says, are you sure you want to install it? You go, yep, and it installs. It's like you got a banana and you ate the banana. And now you're left with the banana peel. The installer has been used. You don't need it anymore. The good part of the banana went into your belly. In this case, the applications went into the applications folder, but in the downloads, you have the leftovers. So the DMG and the PKGs that have been used, they need to be trashed. They take up a lot of space on your computer unnecessarily. They're done. You've installed it. But for many people, they just stay there for years. And if you download it next week, you download another one. And next year, you download another version for another update. It downloads again. And next thing you know, sometimes you have 2 or 3 or 4 of the same thing that are DMGs or PKGs. Only the dates you'll see, they're 1 year after another. They're done with. Now, the reason I'm saying that you don't have that many anymore, so some of you guys are looking like, I don't have any of those. It's because now, as of 2 years ago, Ventura and Sonoma, when you install something, when you're done installing it, the application, the installer says, are you done with me? Do you want to put the installer in the trash? And you should say yes. And most people who know what they're doing say yes. And thus that installer, the banana peel, trashes itself. So it's not hanging out in your downloads. But if perchance you said no to trash itself, then you have the installers hanging in here. Okay, so that's what the DMGs and the PKGs are. If they're old, get rid of them because it's outdated anyway. Go get a new one. And if you don't know what it is, that is the most dangerous point. Because if you don't know what a DMG or PAT, you look at it and you don't know what it is, the last thing you should be doing is double clicking on it to install it. Because that is the way viruses get into your computer. You downloaded something innocent, a photo from a website, and it attaches a virus and it's an installer file. And if you double click on it, again, that installs into your computer. So don't double click to look at things that you don't know what they are. Just click on it and do a space bar, or what Catherine said she liked, and I talked about it a little bit earlier this session. If you go all the way up to the view that's up at the top of the menu bar and say show preview, then over here you see a little preview. So you don't have to do space bar. You just see a little preview right there. So instead of space barring this one, I see it right here, and then I go from page to page. So that's plan B. So here, this would be an example of, I would go up and down to see what's in this one versus space bar, and you see it like that. I prefer space bar, but either way, this is a preview. Do not ever double click. That's the no-no. Don't double click. So DMG and PKGs. If you have any of those, get rid of them. And the last one I'm left with explaining now is zip. So first, I'm going to stop talking and answer some questions. And any other file you have that you don't know what it is, please put them in the chat. All right, Susan.
Yeah, I have 2.
Oh, I see that, MP3s and MP4s. They're just
Yeah.
different versions of sound files. Just like WAV is another sound file. MP3 and MP4 just got created one different time. So they're both sound files. They're both sound files. So
Yeah.
that's all that is.
And then I have 2 photos. It's a PPT, which I guess I created in,
A PPT.
yeah.
PPT is hold on. PPT is a PowerPoint that's old, because
Right.
a new PowerPoint is PPTX, but an old PowerPoint is PPT.
But they're 2 photos, and can I drag those into my photos?
No, because it's a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh,
If you
okay.
have to open it in PowerPoint and
Yeah.
then save those photos out and you can put them in your Photos app. But it's a document that contains 2 photos. It's
Uh-huh.
not 2 photos, meaning it's like this is a PPT and there's a photo there and there's a photo there and there's a photo there. But I would have to open this. It would open in PowerPoint. Then I can select and save this photo out. Then I can keep it in my Photos app. But the PPTX can't be put in the Photos app because
Okay.
it's not a photo. So
Well,
yeah,
when I
question.
open it, it says open with Keynote.
Yeah. So PowerPoint is the Word, Office, Microsoft Word has PowerPoint, Excel, and PowerPoint, Excel, and Word are Microsoft's versions of programs. The same 3 in the Mac are Word is called Pages on the Mac. Like if you buy and install Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, you have those. But if you don't have them, the Mac comes with Pages for Word, Numbers for Excel, and Keynote for PowerPoint. So if you don't have PowerPoint assigned on a computer and you open a PPTX, it default opens in Keynote, which is PowerPoint for the Mac. Does that make sense, you guys? It's the Mac version of PowerPoint. So it's 3 programs that the computer comes with that are the equivalent programs. They don't look the same or anything, but they do the same thing. So you can run a PowerPoint presentation in Keynote. So that's fine. Just say yes to that. Or unless you have PowerPoint installed. If so, it should be open it in PowerPoint.
No, it's a new computer, so I don't have any of these. I don't have
right.
PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook. I have to buy, I guess you have to buy the whole program, right?
Yes and no, you don't. If you're a student, you can download them for free. That's just something that as a Mac person, as a student, City College student, you can download them for free. But the whole point is you don't have to because you have Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. So
Oh.
you can just open it in Keynote and keep working at it in Keynote. It's the equivalent. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So that's your choice.
Thank you.
Now, when you open it in Keynote and save it as a Keynote file, because it'll save as .keynote, Keynote, when you then try to send it to someone who has a PC, they won't have the Keynote program because it's a PC, not an Apple program. Then they have to convert it back into a PowerPoint if they own PowerPoint, et cetera, et cetera. So it's all like, but for the most part, if people have PowerPoint, they can open it. But if they don't have PowerPoint, they can't open PowerPoint either, right? So then they have to open it as you have to send them a PDF. So anyway, long story, what you seem to do. But there's compatibility issues for people who don't own the programs. But for the Mac people, not owning PowerPoint is not an issue. It just opens in Keynote. Let me see. That's it. Those are the only 2 things. It says MP3, MP4, or package in DMG. Lynn says she got the answer. If there's no other file name questions, I'm going to move on to zip.
I put more in the chat.
I have a question.
Hold on. Let me look at the chat. Sorry, I'm looking at it. Oh, I have a few new messages that I haven't checked. What is the difference? How do you... ICS. Okay, ICS. ICS is if you exported a contact. So if I open my contacts, let me share my entire screen. Let me minimize some things. If I open my contacts app, right? And I want to export my contacts to keep them as a file, I could do that. I could go to File, Export. And when you do that export as an archive, it'll save itself as an ICS. You can export one card or you can export everything. So if I export this right now, Erica and Drijonas, and let me put it on the desktop so it's visible to see. And I say okay and save. Then when it's done, it saves as, oh, it's not showing it to me as a, if I go here to the desktop, Oh, it says V card. It used to be that it saved in as as an ICS. That's because I did only one card. So it's a V card, but if not, the whole program, the whole thing is an ICS. Okay, so you probably exported or received, maybe you received from someone a contact file and that contact's downloaded as an ICS. Let me see, is there anything else in your writing? Old Firefox and second Adobe folder. Okay, that's Odessa. If you have an old Firefox installer, again, two reasons to, let me just stop and have you guys see, two reasons to, if it's an application, Firefox is an application, it's an installer. And if it's old, you don't need it anymore. Applications update, every 3 months or so. So if you see any application that's, from last year, forget it, just get rid of it. If it's even from like April this year, just get rid of it and go download the fresh one. If you paid for it, like you downloaded Microsoft Office 2 years ago, and you didn't get rid of the installer and you paid for Microsoft Office, then you can still get rid of the installer because through the program, through the app, you can open the app and say update and it'll update itself, right? So you don't need the installers as the first installer. So you don't need the installers. And then you said second Adobe folder. Adobe, here, let me show you what she's talking about. When you have Adobe file, Adobe are like Photoshop or Illustrator, InDesign, other programs that I teach. When you install an Adobe program, it makes an Adobe folder for you. But it should be in the documents folder, not in your downloads. But anyway, so it's in the documents folder and it's files that Adobe needs. See, none of this is anything I wrote, okay? These are things that the computer needs to function, so you should read those Adobe folders alone. But why would you have two? That I don't know. If you open them both and they're both the same, look at the file names, dates, and if you see some that are like 3 years old and others that are current, then probably the current ones are the ones that are valid and not the old ones. When you update, usually Adobe takes care of updating with you, unless they're so old from like when you own the programs instead of subscribe to them, then yeah, maybe you have a second one. But anyway, so we don't touch or access these. The computer uses them to function Adobe. All right. All right, I see you're nodding. Let me see. Updater.dmg, tp1mac.dmg. So the updaters, do you guys see in the chat that Robin wrote DMG for the first two things? What did I just say a DMG was? Who remembers? I spoke out the acronym, which is not that you have to remember, but somebody might.
It's a disk image,
Like,
that's the banana peel.
Yeah, disk image, which is the banana peel for an application that needed to be updated. You can get rid of it. Same with TP105. Does it have dates on them, Robin?
Yes, that updater is quite old, but I'm just like triple checking.
No,
like,
got
if I
it.
can get
Perfect.
rid of it.
Perfect.
And then I have an installer package. So presumably, and it's a Microsoft Office.
From what date?
Well, it was installed 2023, December 2023, but it was
And
probably from before.
but your applications are up and running and they're doing fine. You can use them. You can use Word.
I can use Word. I don't actually use PowerPoint or.
Okay, but
Done
the installer package installed them, so you're done with the installer, but it's the banana peel. You're good. You can get rid
Okay.
of it. Okay,
And then
And-
what about this TP105 Mac.dmg
that's the thing. What date does it have? Just to know.
today?
Okay, did you
It looks
download
like the
anything
icon.
today?
It looks like the icon for my Macintosh hard drive.
The fact that it's a DMG and it's from today, did you remember downloading anything? Today? Did
You know,
you?
No.
Because a downloader is for you to install something. And if it's from today, the question is, did you download anything today? Today isn't an old one that you
might
should
be-
get rid of, but
E- Could it be for an Apple update, like a system update?
No, way in the past, which is certainly not today, they would send you files to update. Now, when you update, if you go up here to system settings and check, another way to, then it just updates on its own. It doesn't, like it sends you updates, but at the end, unless you updated something and at the end it said, do you want to get rid of the folder? And you said no, then it might be that it ended up in your computer. But if I go to the App Store, right? One way to do this is go to the App Store and then updates. Click on updates and it'll tell you if there's an update available. So if I say, okay, I want to update this one, right? And I hit the update, then it downloads an installer, it self runs the update, and then at the very end it says, do you want to get rid of the installer or not? And if you said no, then that stays in your downloads folder. So it might be one of those. Did you do some updates lately?
I checked that folder, but I did not do them.
It's possible that you have it set up to update. So when we remember the
do.
system settings where we had to go and check on updates and go to general and a software update. If you have it set up to automatic updates right there, automatic updates, if you have a yes on that one, and then it updates automatically. So without you even knowing, it might have just updated behind you.
I
had-
do have it turned on to that, and I couldn't find a way to turn it off, actually.
Well, did you take the first class, the Intro to the Mac class?
I guess,
Intro to
guess-
the Mac, because the first day of Intro to the Mac, you have the recordings available. Otherwise,
Okay.
on the Zoom, like we talked a lot about updates and how to manipulate and what to change and what to check. And I have it set up to automatically update, except for the Mac
the Mac
OS.
OS.
And I'm not going to explain how
Okay,
to do that.
that's fine.
No, but not you. Anyone who, there's quite a few of you who didn't take to the Intro to the Mac class. If you have a question about this, go into the class files and go to the Zoom recordings for the first 2 days of the class. You didn't take the Intro to the Mac, and we talked a lot about updates and how to modify those choices. Okay, we talked a lot about that, and I remember it happened the first and the second class. So don't know what part I got said in the first one or in the second one, but we talked about it in the first one, and then there were follow-up questions, and so we did more on the second class. All right. Susan, you just talked to me, but your hand is up. Is that an old hand or do you have another question? Hello, Susan? I'll just go on to Odessa because I think I've already answered your question, so it's probably been answered, but in case you have another question, then raise your hand again. Yes, Odessa?
You answered my question.
Oh, I answered it. Okay. When your questions have been answered, I'm lowering your hands or you lower them when you've had them. Cool. So now we're left with, I said, zip files. Now, zip files are kind of, there could be great or they could be dangerous. Why? Zip files, you don't know what it is because imagine that it's a duffel bag full of files, right? What do I mean by that? When somebody needs to send you many files, believe it or not, the DMGs, the PKGs for installers, that's a lot of files wrapped into something called a PKG or a DMG. When you open it up, it installs a bunch of different stuff. Like you get Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all in one little DMG file. That's an example. Zip files is not installing applications. It's how to, instead of a bunch of applications together, which is what DMG and PKG are, it's a bunch of files together. So if you have anything that's a zip file, right? I have 3 over here. That means that somebody had to send me more than one file, sometimes 3, sometimes 450, whatever. And they have put them all in one big bag and zipped it up and said, here. And when they email it to you, they email you one file. So when you download it, you have one zip file. and it looks a certain size, whichever, and it's a bit deceptive because what thing that zip does is it compresses, it stuffs things a bit compressed. Like imagine if you're trying to put a comforter, a big down comforter into a smallish duffel bag, and you push and push and push and push, and finally you end up having a little thing like that. But when you pull it out, it's like, woof, it's this big comforter, right? That's kind of what a zip file is. It's like a bunch of files compressed into one, and you don't know how many until you open it. And a lot of the times the names are pretty cryptic. It'll say something like this, 4-5 Mugi Shush, you'll have no idea what it is. Sometimes it's well written and it tells you what it is. So say that I have this one called Word Data Chapter 1 to Zip. If I want to do the preview that I told you about before, hitting the space bar, all I see is a zipper, right? So I can't tell what's in it. So if you know that you downloaded it, say when I teach people Photoshop, I have them download a bunch of files to work on and they get to their computer zipped, you know that I sent it, that they're good files, definitely just double click and open them. But if you have a zipped file that you have no idea what it is or where it came from, don't just open it because you don't know what's in there. All you're seeing is the closed zipped file. When I double click on it, it's going to open up and give me all those files, and then that could be introducing a virus. So now I'm going to go ahead and double click on this guy. So right now, double click, doop, doop, I double clicked. It took a second. It opened itself up. You saw something happen. And now there's my zip one. It's still there, but now I have a folder called Word Data CH12. It unzipped. That one's still there, but now I have this one again. And if I open it, oh, there were 2 chapters in there. And when I open that, look at all the files that were in there. So in that, I have 2 folders and there's like, whatever, 15 and 7 or something like that. So there's like 20, at least, files in this folder. And they were all in here in this zipped folder. Does that make sense? I double clicked and I can, let me get rid of it because I don't want all those files to trash. That one I still have. So if I double click on it again, it opens up again. And again, it's the same 20 files, right? So if I now double click on it again, now I get the same folder version 2. If I double click on it again, the same folder version 3, I double click on it again. It keeps giving me each time I open. So now from one file, I have 4 versions of the same thing, which I certainly don't want. And so this is like 1, 2, 3, and 4th version. So what I'm trying to say is that once I'm going to delete all these extra ones. Once you've unzipped it once, you don't need this again because you're done. You've unzipped it, right? So in that sense, it's a bit different. It's a bit more like the banana peel. The good stuff is there, and this is the banana peel. So right click and move it to the trash. Does that make sense? Because otherwise you have it double. This has all the file sizes and this has all the files. So you have the double of the same thing. Since these are sample files, I'm going to move the opened one up to the trash, but what you need to do is open it up, throw away the zipped file, and then you have the files. Okay, so that's what you do with zip files. And if you don't know what it is or where it came from, just trash it because you can't see what's inside until you open it. And if you weren't expecting it or didn't need it, you probably still don't need it anymore. And just get rid of them for now. If you happen to need them again, you'll find out that you need them. So if it's just been sitting there forever, just get rid of it. Okay. Any other questions? Any other files you have left in your downloads folder? Anything that's left that you didn't know what to do with, this is the time. Anything that's left in your desktop that you don't know what to do with. If you chose to leave it there, that's one thing. But if you don't know what to do with it, this is the moment to ask me. This is the, what's this? What's that? I still have things and I don't know what to do with them. This is that moment. Because at this point, then your downloads should be empty, almost empty, or just have 4 or 5 things that you're in the midst of, like a file. You just got a form, you need to fill it and send it in, then you can get rid of it. That can stay in your downloads. And then when you're done, you get rid of it. But if it's something important, like these are files that I need to work on, then I move them into my documents folder. Don't leave them hanging in your downloads. And your desktop, we talked last week, only leave the things that you need or if you want to keep them handy, bring out an alias, or if you just don't want to, then that's good. All right, and then the rest of the day, we're going to focus on just the documents folder and the structures that we're going to create. So, yes, Catherine?
Question, there's folders in the downloads, and do I just, before I do anything with those, like you had some just showed up on yours? That just make sure that lives somewhere else as well. I don't even know where I would have gotten it, put it in my downloads, so that's one question.
Wait. You have folders in your downloads and you don't know how they showed up there?
I wanted to know before I get rid of them. I must have put them there. I must have saved them there. I will double check to make sure they live somewhere else.
I mean, you could have downloaded a zipped file, for example, like I just showed you some folders, and now you have them in your downloads and they need to move somewhere, like
It
class
just
files
says
from me.
folder. You had it on yours, your listing. It said folder there. When you showed yours on your downloads, see how you have X1, Excel, exercise? You have folders there.
Under kind, yeah.
And so I'm just curious, I have that as well on mine. I should just make sure that that lives where it's supposed to go before I trash it.
Yeah, if it says folder, a folder is holding something.
Right.
So this
I
is
can
just
open
a
it
folder
and see.
and you can open it and have 25
Okay.
different kinds of files. So this doesn't say what files you have inside. It just says, this is a
Gotcha.
folder, you need to open me up. You open me
Okay,
up and you
all
go,
right.
oh, it's a PNG. Okay,
Thank-
where does this PNG go? Or it's a bunch of exercise files. Okay, I need the whole folder. I move the whole thing into my documents folder.
Right.
Boom. Now it's
okay,
gone, right? Or
Got it.
I might want to save only this one. That's all. I don't want to save the whole thing.
Okay.
So then I save only this one. And then I have an empty folder and I can right click and move that folder to the trash,
Thank you.
right?
My other question is about recents. Don't recents live on your computer, but they're not really files?
No.
Explain
Don't.
recents, or did I miss it?
Yeah, no,
Cancel?
don't say what it is wrong because it confuses people. I will now explain.
Thank
I
you.
will now explain recents, but don't give it an
Okay,
interpretation. Let
sorry,
people listen.
sorry.
No, meaning you guys just don't
Erase, cancel.
I will talk about recents in a second. It is not separate files, but I'll talk about it once right now, after all of these questions about files are over and no one has any more questions, then we're going to talk about recents. Viola. I can't hear you. If you're asking me a question, can you please unmute yourself, Viola?
What is a web archive?
Okay, so a web archive is a file. It's not file that you downloaded. So what's the extension of the web archive? What are the 3 dots? Is it HTML or something like that?
Oh, now I have to find it.
Okay, because over here under kind, it'll say web archive. And then here, I believe it says HTML. Anyway, what it is if you double click on that, it takes you to a web page. So it's like a link to a particular web page. So you might have unknowingly on purpose, sometimes people don't know, downloaded from the internet, a link to a page. You were trying to download a photo and instead you downloaded a link and it lands here. And if I double click on it, I should have one. I should have a sample one. That's a good point, but I don't have one. I try to sample all the weird ones. I don't have an HTML, but if you have an HTML, I can, if you were to double click on it, your Zoom or your Safari, your Chrome, whatever file you have that goes to the internet will open up and you'll land on page that you had there. So if you find it, try that and tell me. Okay? If you find it again. Great. Susan, your hand is up. Yep.
Yeah, yes, I have, I'm sorry if I missed this, but it's Firefox 115.12 OESR.dmg.
Yeah. Firefox is an application and that's an
Application.
installer. Firefox is equivalent to Chrome and Safari. It's a browser for the internet,
So I
which
just leave it?
Well, I mean, it's definitely much better than Chrome, than Google Chrome. And if you use Safari, you're fine with Safari. But if you want another browser, you can use Firefox or Chrome. It's just like what brand of jeans do you like? If you have
Yeah.
a Mac, if you're happy with Safari, just keep Safari. You don't need to install Firefox nor Chrome.
Well,
but if-
do I just leave it in the downloads area?
No, if you don't want it, right click and delete, move to trash. If you don't want it. If you want it, look at the date because it might be old. And if you really want it, then you should go to Firefox Online and download a fresh one.
No, it was from June.
So let me explain, let me show you guys what I mean. Let me share my screen. When you're on the internet, right? Say that you want to say that someone says, oh, you need to install Firefox for some reason. Someone told you to install it somehow. So if I'll go to Firefox download, I'm Googling it. So it's called Mozilla Firefox. If I click on that, then it shows me, it shows me how to download. I can download Mozilla Firefox for the Mac. If I download Firefox Mozilla for the Macs, then I will have an installer file in my downloads that if I double click, Firefox will become an application in my applications. I will have Firefox like I do. See, I have Firefox there. And what is Firefox? It's just another browser. I have it right here. If I click on it, it's a different brand, if you want, of browser to browse the internet, right? It's just a different, it's like now I have Safari and Firefox. And most people have Chrome because they came from the world of PCs or because someone told them you need Chrome or whatever. And I'm going to quit. Chrome, I don't like. For a Mac, it's very, 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 very invasive of your privacy. It follows you, it tracks your last breath. And Firefox and Safari are much, much better for their privacy settings. So if you're gonna choose something other than Safari, I would prioritize Firefox. But if you're happy with Safari and you don't need anything else, then just use Safari. It's a choice.
So my question is, where do I just delete it out of my downloads because it's in my application? Or are they both?
Oh, it's in your applications, not in your downloads.
No. It's in my downloads, but it's also in my applications.
Okay, so that means that you installed it. That's all it means.
Yeah.
So if it's in your applications, that means you installed it. If you want to use it, just use it. If you go to your downloads, more so, you're ready to click and move to trash. You're done.
So that's my question. It's okay to get it out of my
Yeah, it's a banana peel. Get rid of it.
Okay.
Now, if you didn't want it and you ended up with it by mistake, you can also go to Firefox in your applications now, right click and move to trash, and that will get rid of that application. But I'm not saying that you need to. I'm just saying that for sure you don't need the installer anymore because you've already installed it. And if you didn't mean to install it and it just happened by mistake and you really don't want it, then just go and right click on the application and move it to trash and it'll delete the application as well.
Yeah, I just had it for my old computer because Safari, it just, Firefox was helping to make things easier, but now I have a computer and now I don't need it because,
Your choice. I have it,
Yeah.
and on my real computer, I also have Chrome because I have to demo all different ones, but I work on websites and so I need to have different ones installed. So I have them. But on my personal life, when I'm ready to go to the internet to do something myself, not for work, I'll use Safari. But I'm a web designer, so I will go and have others, right? But so it's not good or bad. Applications take a lot of space. If you're not using them, get rid of them. Now, don't yet get completely rid of stuff. Like I don't use GarageBand at all, right? So in my real computer, I actually got rid of GarageBand because it's a very big file, 1.26 gigabytes. But here it comes with a Mac, right? So I'm not going to get rid of the ones that come with a Mac. The only ones I have installed here, I installed a few others. I have Google, these guys that didn't come with a Mac. I have some film editing stuff that don't come. I have all the Microsoft stuff. I have all the Adobe stuff. So I have a lot of stuff I've installed that doesn't come with the Mac, the Blackmagic, Raw, all this doesn't come with the Mac. So I've installed all that myself, but things that come with the Mac. So here's the Pages, Here's the keynote that we were talking about. So this is the PowerPoint that comes with the Mac. This is the Word that comes with the Mac. And this is Numbers is the, where's the number? That's the Excel that comes with the Mac, right? So that's the version. So those are there. But there's other stuff that's here that I don't want. And if you try to delete, and Safari comes with the Mac, and there's some apps that are so integral to the computer working well that it just doesn't let you delete it. But there's others, if you go, I don't want Safari anymore, it'll disappear and then you'll have to use another browser. But I wouldn't recommend getting rid of the ones that actually come with a Mac myself. See, here's an app. Time Machine is an app. We're going to talk about it next week. It's the app that you use to back up files with, but you don't ever need to open it from here. It just does it in the background. So we're going to talk about it. So there's a lot of stuff in here in the applications that you might like not think you're using. So you might go, oh, I'm just going to get rid of it. But the computer is using it, right? And so you need to be careful what you delete. But if you installed it, then you're welcome to uninstall it, and that's not a problem. Okay.
I have one more, Zoom PKG,
Yeah, Zoom, for example, if you look in your applications, you're using Zoom to attend this class. So Zoom has been installed, right? So if you still in the downloads have the PKG, that's from when you downloaded it. So you're ready, right click trash, move to the trash. You don't need any installers once the app has been installed, once the app has been, once you're using on it. It's the banana peel. You got the goodies. You can get rid of the peel.
but I don't see that in applications. I don't see any Zoom in applications.
Well, you're using Zoom. If you go all the way to the bottom, the last one, because it starts with Z, you don't see Zoom.
I don't see that. Nope, no Zoom in there. But then
It's possible. Are you using the web Zoom and you never did install Zoom? It's possible that you're using web Zoom. I can't tell the difference from here. But if it's not installed, if you go to the applications folder alphabetically, you go to, and you don't have it, then look at the installer and see what's the date on it. And if the date isn't too old, then you can install it.
Yeah,
To
not-
install,
not-
installing means double click on it and it will open up. But what's the date on it then?
the Zoom is, I have a Zoom to PKG. This is in the downloads.
Yeah, but what's the date? The date on
The
it?
date is, well, one was yesterday, and one was
Okay,
July 25th,
all right. So,
2023. Oh,
so-
okay, Zoom
so-
package 2023.
okay, so delete the one from 2023 and double click and install the one from yesterday or today, whenever. Okay,
And how do you?
how do you install it? You just double click on it and it installs itself. It has you agree and you say, yep, and then it just installs itself. When you have Zoom, then you just go back to the installer and right click and move it to the trash after you've installed it.
Okay, I got to install for all users of this computer and then install for me only. What would that?
Yeah. Do you have other users on this computer?
No.
The thing is that there's a possibility that you might use the guest mode, which
Oh,
you
yeah,
probably
yeah,
don't know
yeah,
about. So
yeah.
then say, yeah, once the application is on, any user can use it.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And when you're done, go back to the downloads and then move the installer to the trash. And definitely move the old installer.
Okay.
All right. Cool. All right, guys, it's break time. When we come back, we are going to explore that mysterious recents folder. And
Alert from installer zoom.us must be
whoa,
closed before the
ouch. Mute yourself. Yeah, it's fine. But there's a question Barbara had in the chat. What's the most important thing to do before installing a new program, right? And there's nothing necessarily you need to do. First of all, make sure your computer has space. Applications and programs take up space. If you have an old version, many times when you install the new one, that installation takes care of getting rid of your old one. Other times when you install the new one, you have both parallel, and that is unnecessary. So then you need to go in and uninstall the old one, unless you're just trying to see if you prefer one over the other. But yeah, just make sure it came the installer came in from a reputable place, that's all. All right. All right, I'll see you guys then in, what time is it? Let's see. It's 2:36, so can somebody figure out 15 minutes for me? So 2:35,
51,
41.
51, okay, be back
is that right?
at 2:51
2:51.
PM. All right, see you guys at 2:51, 15 minutes.
Thank you.
All right, come on back. Let me just change my glasses. Here we go. And oh, my video isn't done. Oh, on and off. Let me turn the other one on. Let me clear everyone's answers. All right, so if you guys are here, please give me a show of life. Either turn on your videos or give me a little yes to tell me that you are here. And I spent, instead of taking a break, it turns out there's 3 people trying to sign into my Photoshop class that starts after this one's over. And I had to deal with their registration issues, which is good. But, and let me see someone here. Denise, could I attend? Denise, are you there? Denise? I don't see you in class. She wrote me a message. Okay, when she comes back. Okay. All right. So yeah, just so you know, whenever there's a class that's starting, Photoshop, this time last week, they were about to cancel it because I only had 8 people, and now I have 29. People sign up at the last minute, and they know me. They know that I'm good for it. So they allow me to they give me a bit of a pass, but technically, if I didn't have 20 people by Friday, it would have canceled, and it took a lot of emailing and stuff, a lot of work. So if you ever want to take a class, don't do this to teachers. Sign up early. And if you can't take it, then you can back out, but don't wait till the last minute, because the class can get canceled. And there's so many classes this session getting canceled. If you've been out there in the, in the world of non-credit, the budget is a big issue. They are being really serious about it. And now if the class isn't full in time, they're canceling them. And I managed to save Photoshop, and now they had to raise the cap because there's so many people. People wait till the last minute. And my request is to all of you non-credit students, please do not wait till the last minute for it to not be canceled and then be surprised. Yes. But anyway, it's a good problem to have, right? Like first world problems to have too many students. But it was literally, I got a warning on Friday saying, hey, we have to cancel your class if you don't get more students. So, Afra.
Yes, I registered. Just I want to make sure that if you can take it. My name.
And you registered in Mac level 2?
Yes.
I see you in the roster. Yeah, you're there. So
Okay.
you're good.
Thank you.
You're good. So, Denise, I see you just joined. Denise, can you send me you're connecting to audio, you can't hear me. Okay. All right. I promised when we came back, we would talk about the recents folder, right? So let me begin with that explanation. Okay. Now, I'm reading some questions in the chat. Will you cover Mac Mail in Mac level 2? Yes, I will. Join the Mac level 2 class, Odessa. Good. I joined the Illustrator from Jarmoon. Yay. That's on Friday. Mac Scan Installer DMG. Is this a good virus scan? So Lynn, Mac Scan Installer. Is this a good virus scan? Lynn, where are you? No, Robin, not Lynn. I always make the mistake with the Lynn student and the Robin student. Robin, are you there? Robin wrote that asking about the Mac Scan Installer, if it is a good file.
I think that's what it is.
Okay, so Mac Scan installer is not something I have ever heard about. But I do have something to say about virus protectors. I'm looking at to see if MaxScan appears as anything. I don't recognize, nothing I've ever heard of.
Maybe
Um,
I'm wrong about what it is.
No, but the whole thing is that if you don't know what it is, and it's a DMG, don't install it.
Yeah,
Macs don't need the kind of virus scans that PCs do. If you come from the PC world where every 2 days you have a new virus getting into your computer, Macs are not going to say that they're immune, but they are extremely, they're not harder to hack per se, but the good news is that there's for better, for worse, there's many less users of Macs in the world than there are of PCs, of Windows machines. So when people design a virus, they tend to be viruses that can only hurt Windows computers, because if you're a mean, nasty person who creates viruses to break people's computers, so you want to break 10 million computers or 1 million computers, and they go for 10 millions, right? So in that sense, we're kind of self-protected because there's not that much out there that can hurt a Mac. Not completely immune, I'm not saying that, but you're targeted much less. And a lot of the times these things that purport to scan your computer to protect you, they end up bugging your computer and making it run much slower. And there's very few that are really legit and useful. So if I would recommend just trash it and not make too big of a deal of it. Especially if you don't know what it is or where it came from, because that is the kind of thing that comes in with viruses and stuff. People go, oh, I'm putting in something to protect my computer because I got an ad for it or someone recommended it, and then you go find it and you download it. So many times the virus protection software are the ones that come with viruses because people trust them and they're actually not legit. So, all right. Quick answer to Denise, since you asked me something in the chat, send me an email right in between class. I'll try to send you the link. And the answer is technically no, but sure, I'll let you do it. Okay. Did you hear that, Denise? Just give me a yes or a no to make sure that you got the message. Okay, got it. All right. Let me see. I think I got all the questions and all the stuff. Okay, good. So now let's head over to the Recents folder. All right, so everyone open a Finder window if you haven't yet. And I'm sharing you my Finder window. And there's default setting that the computer has. You can change it, by the way. But if you haven't changed it, which 99.9 people haven't changed it, when you open a Finder window, you land in Recents right there. Yeah, you see how this is what I did. I opened up a Finder window and I have a Recents folder selected. Now, the reason I don't explain the Recents folder until the very end, I mean, today isn't the last class, next Wednesday is the last class, but this is kind of the end of the class. It's because now you're beginning to understand what a lot of these folders are. You understand some of this stuff. Now, when you first start the class and people ask me about Recents, I always tell them, be patient. That's coming. So the time has arrived. First of all, let me clarify what I mean by the parts of the computer. When you buy a computer, I'm going to click here on this, not the hard drive. When you buy the Macintosh hard, when you buy a computer, the computer, Apple, has created, it's like you buy a house that already has 2 bedrooms, 1 kitchen, 1 bathroom, 1 living room, right? That's how the computer comes. Those places exist in your computer because your hard drive is like a big old warehouse. If there was nothing in it, it would just be this one big empty place, right? But then it's already pre-built by Apple into certain folders. And one of them is the applications, one is library, one is system, one is users. You're not supposed to touch any of this, which is why for a lot of people, they don't see how to get into their Macintosh hard drive. People did before. And if I were to put this into this, my computer can just completely come to a crash and halt. So it's dangerous. And so they don't want people touching these things. And in the past, people had access to it. Now we don't. And it's safer for computers. You don't need to touch these. If you want to get to your applications, you go through this little button, which is a quick access. Remember, these are quick access. They're shortcuts. A shortcut to what? A shortcut to this folder there that's in your hard drive. Okay. So this, anything that's under favorites is a shortcut to a folder that got created by the Mac, by Apple, by the makers of this computer. Library holds things that, and system hold things, it's not, that the computer needs to run. I'm not going to ask you to open these, but all this stuff that makes zero sense to you, all of it. This is what makes the computer run. You don't want to mess with any one of these. You don't want to touch any of these. Again, which is why they don't necessarily put this folder here for people anymore. So if you don't have it, don't panic. It's good that you don't have it. Inside of the users folder, right? If you see something called, and this is me, SBCC teacher. For you guys, it'll have your name. In this folder, this is all set up by Apple. I have made none of these. 0 of these have I made. And again, this is all stuff that's in the hard drive. So me, my computer, SBCC teacher, is inside of the users. I'm one of the users of this computer. And in this folder, in this structure that came with the computer, I have a folder called downloads. We talked about that today. I have a folder called movies, music, pictures, and public. This one is only for me because the Creative Cloud is that Adobe stuff that I told you that I have Adobe programs, Photoshop, Illustrator. So I have that folder, but this does not come with a Mac. But those programs install this in there. So 90% of you guys wouldn't have this. And if you don't know where I'm doing this, that's okay. Because again, you shouldn't be getting here. Hang in there. People who have questions, I'll get to you. If the question is, where are you finding this? Just listen to the teaching, because the whole point is you shouldn't be seeing these easily. Okay. If you don't know where to find them, fine. And I will now explain my way around it until you understand why it's fine. But the truth is the computer comes with downloads, movies, music, pictures, public, desktop, and documents. So if your computer has the desktop and documents in the computer and not in the cloud, then you would also see the folders desktop and documents. Since mine has the stuff in the cloud, I have a distinction where I have to go to the cloud to see my desktop and documents. Okay, there they are, desktop and documents. So instead of being like in my computer. Good. Now, all of this is stuff that came with the computer. And for eons, 20 years ago, we used to have the pictures folder right here, the movies folder right there, the music folder right there. This is how it used to be. So you could access all these folders that I'm talking to you about. And what did you have in music? If you were a music collector, you would put music. What did you have in movies? Well, if you watched movies, you might have them there. I'm talking eons, at this point, like, many, many years ago. We're talking like 8, 9 years ago since this stopped being this way. If you had a pictures folder here, what you would see in there were pictures. Okay. You might notice that most of you do not have these anymore. You might not see any of these. And that is the best solution. If you still see them, it's because they were grandfathered in and you used to have them. If you've just been updating, and they ended up still being there. I've had some of you guys share your screens and I can see that you have your pictures folder. Most of you don't have any more of the movies and the music, but a lot of you have one called pictures. This is just shortcuts to places, right? And the places that I was talking about is this place, right? And again, it doesn't matter. I recommend not to have any of these. So if you do have them, I'm going to explain why. First of all, when I say don't have them, I'm going to right click and just remove from the sidebar. Notice, just from the sidebar, not from my computer. Move it from the sidebar. It goes away from here. Why? That way you can't get in there and by mistake mess things up. Same with music. When you go into music, these files are now not your music anymore unless you've had music saved from eons ago in here and you have recordings of music, which I'd say maybe 12 years ago, 10 years ago, you put music in there. But ever since the computer has been using its own apps for music, you don't have your own music anymore here. And let me explain. So I'm going to remove that one also. You don't need those. That's not to say that the music folder still isn't there. I'll explain in a second what's in movies, what's in music, what's in pictures. But when I come to pictures, this is a dangerous one, because up here in pictures, those of you who still have that folder, if you go in, you should have only one file here, and it should be called photoslibrary.photoslibrary. That's it. That's what you should have here. But a lot of people still have other files, and you might have 10,000 files here, 5 files, 4 files, whatever you have in here, you shouldn't anymore have. The only file you should have in the picture folder is photoslibrary.photoslibrary. So this should not be here. Or some of you have folders and folders of photos. Because, why? Eons ago, since the moment the computer began, up until I'll say almost 7 to 10 years ago, this is where we put all our photos. We had a photo, we would put it here. We had a document, we put it in documents. We had a photo, we'd put it in pictures. Document, put it in documents. That's how it worked. Music, you put it in music. Movies, you put it in movies. That's what you did. But then the computer, the Mac, invented an app called Photos to handle your photos. And it invented an app called Music to handle your music. And it invented an app that right now isn't in my dock, which is iMovie to handle your movies. TV to handle your shows. These didn't exist when the computer structure was created. The computer structure was created, that one that I've been talking about was created at the beginning of the world of computers, and it's still there. So what happens now is that if I see the movies folder, right? Let me go, or music folder. It's easier to explain because I do have that app there. If I open the music folder, I only see one thing called music, which if I open, it says music library. You're not supposed to have anything else in here but this folder. What does this mean? That if you use the music app, you now, any file that's music that you download into your computer, you listen to and handle it and work with it through the music app. That means that this music library holds all your music. It's not rolling around in here anymore like before. So you don't handle your music from here. You just handle it by opening your music app. I'm not going to teach you the music app right now. So for those of you who do or not use it, that's Mac level 2. We start working on these apps that are here in the dock. Same with TV. If you click on TV, you have a list of like video shows that you watch or whatever, but you don't find them here in files. You do that through the TV app. The one that's most easiest for people to understand is the pictures folder, because in the Photos app, if I open the Photos app, watch, I have tons and tons and tons of photos in here. Tons and tons, and I have 818 photos. This is a sample folder, so it doesn't have many. In my real computer, I have tens of thousands of photos in here in the Photos app. Here, because it's the teaching computer, I only have 800 photos and 64 videos. But this is one file that has 800 photos and 64 videos. And they're all held in this file called photoslibrary.photoslibrary. Just like the music library holds all my music and the movies library holds all the movies. It's one single file that holds all my photos. And the rest of these are because they've been there since forever and they shouldn't be here. If you want to have photos that you do not want in your photos library, they should be in your documents folder. That's where they should be. Any photos that you have in here should be moved to the documents folder. And then in the documents folder, you can make a folder called, and I make a new folder called more photos or something like that, or photos, extra photos or whatever. And then these are all JPEGs, JPEGs, JPEGs. This one and this one I can now put in the more photos right there. Right? So now my more photos, now what photo, oh, I shouldn't have moved the Adobe one out. So what photos should I have in here? Anything that I want in my computer, but I don't want in my Photos app. In my case, in real life, client photos. I do brochures, websites, I design things for people. I have a lot of photos that I don't need to have in my photos library. So I want them in the documents folder, not in the pictures folder. So for those of you who do have stuff in the pictures folder, the only thing you should have, and you should never move away, is the photos library, which I told you when you open this, I have 800 photos, tens of thousands in my personal one. That is all held by one file. Now, can you imagine how dangerous for people to have this here and to somehow mess this photo up? I messed this file up because the pictures access to it is easy. If I mess this up, I lose 800 photos. Does that make sense? So you never want to have access to this file, which is why now people do not have access to this anymore. It doesn't show up there anymore. If you still see it, there's a slight chance that you still see it, and that might be because it was grandfathered in. If you still see it and you have it there, like that, or if you have like music there or something like that, then click on that, get rid of any photos other than this one by putting them in the documents folder, make a folder for them, and then decide if you want them in the photos library or not, and organize them as simple files. If you do decide that you want them as photos, then how do you put them in here? You open that folder that has more photos and you go, oh, this photo, you think, oh, I do want this one in there. So I'm gonna, I had taken them out because I didn't undo to show you this again. But if I do want these photos in here, right, to be in my Photos app, say that this one is a photo that I want to keep. I should drag it into my Photos app. When I put it in there, it goes into my Photos app. See, there it is. Now I have it in my Photos app. What I have done is I have put it in that place right now. That Photos app is holding that photo. It's in this one file that now has 819 photos. But when I go back to my pictures, to my documents folder, now I should get rid of this one because otherwise I'll have it twice. So I'm going to right click and move this one to the trash. And only the ones that I don't want, these are like work files and stuff like that, that I don't need in my Photos app. That's the only thing that I'm leaving here. Does that make sense? To deal with for some other reason. So you should not have any pictures other than the photos library in the pictures folder. That's the main message I want to say. So if you do have, some people have 20, some people have 250, some people have 20 folders that they use to organize, that 10 years ago they organized into dates and trips and stuff. Put those photos in the photos library. Take my photos class and I'll teach you how to handle them. Or move them to the documents folder and then get rid of this one from your sidebar, because this one you should never mess with. Now I see in the chat, Catherine saying, can we click on library to view that there? Yeah, the photos library, if I double click on it, is the same. It's an app. It's the same as if I were to open this. So if I double click on this one, it opens my Photos app. In that one file, I have 819. See, I just added one to it. So that's what that is. But which is why if I were to delete this one or mess this up in any way or try to copy or whatever I try to do that, what I'm risking, and I double clicked on it again, is all my 800 photos or my 10,000 photos. That is what this is. So that's why I'm going to not mess with that. And I'm going to remove it to the sidebar. because I don't want to do that. So you click on something in answer to Robin's, you first of all, check it to make sure you don't have other photos that you need to move out, and then move anything else, move it to your documents folder, and then you right click and you remove from sidebar.
Ooh, just a question. So when you say if you have anything else, blah, 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 I'm missing, something's missing in my brain there. So I open up my libraries photo, my library pictures, because I think my old computer has the photo library.
Yeah, because it's been grandfathered in, and now if you were to buy a computer, you wouldn't see it there.
Right, I
So
know.
when you
my
click on
2012
pictures, if
Okay,
you see 10, 20, or 5,500 files in here,
right?
other than that one, you need to get them out and put them all in the documents folder.
Individually drop and drag them to documents.
Yeah, or click select and do them all
Select
at
them
once.
and then drag them into documents.
Yeah.
And they
And-
won't go in a photo app though, they'll go into documents as documents, or will there be something when I drag them into the documents that'll indicate where they
Okay,
came from or something?
No, hold on. Good question. Let me put all of these photos back in the pictures folder. Hold on. Are you sure you want to remove them anyway? Because again, that's kind of, let me put more stuff in there. Let me find some more photos here. The screenshots or photos, whatever. I'm going to grab all this and put them in the pictures folder. Let's say that when you go to your pictures folder, you have a ton of stuff. You might even have folders and folders in here, right? And if that's you, I'm talking to you. If those of you guys who go, I don't even know how to get to my pictures folder, then I can help you check. Raise your hand and I'll help you check. But right now, the only one that matters is this one. And see how it looks like one more file amongst everything? It's so dangerous. It's just sitting there, just looking like one more thing. So I recommend making in here, make a folder, make a new folder, either by right click new folder or go to file, new folder, and say all pictures mixed up or whatever to organize, call it something. I don't know, call it something. And then put all of these 800,000 of them or 5 of them, put them in there. Put them in
Gotcha.
there. Put them in there so that you have all the photos except for this one in there. And now grab this folder and move it to your documents. Boom. You have emptied this out. Now get rid of this sidebar. This is now safe. Now go to your documents folder. And now this folder here is full of photos that you need to now organize. And this is the important thing. If you do want them to be in your photos, because they should have been there, you just drag it in. You put it in there. You can drag in 25 if you want. I don't care. All that you want. You drag onto the Photos app. But if you drag it into the Photos app, immediately come back here and right click and delete them, move to the trash from here so that you don't now have duplicates of it. By the time you're done, you'll be left only with the photos that you truly didn't want anymore. Does that make sense? You'll be left with these, which you go, oh, this is for work. I don't need that one to be in my Photos app. This one doesn't need to be in my Photos app. So now you will have, you can rename this to miscellaneous pictures that I just don't want in the Photos app. And then that's it. And then you'll keep them there. Does that make sense? So that's just another folder of images. And I wouldn't have that because I would have these two and the client that I designed this for. This one in this, you know, sometimes you make, like you have websites. I would put these in the website folder. I would put the other ones in the, I would just put them where they belong. If they don't belong in the Photos app, it's because they belong to something else, right? By the time you're done, you won't have anything else. You will only have the photos that you want to put in your Photos app in there, and the ones that you don't want, you'll have down there. And then I want you to get rid of the Photos app from here. I want to, the reason I told you I would talk about recent. So you're like, wait, this isn't recent. Yes, it is. I'm trying to show you something. Trying to show you that these base folders that come with the computer are immovable, but the Mac is now using them for their apps. So all photos get held in the pictures, but you're not supposed to touch that file. So it's not in the sidebar anymore. All music is held in the music app, and you're not supposed to touch that music app. So it's not there anymore. So I'm going to right click and remove from sidebar. The only people who still have them here are people from whom they've been moving up and up and up from before and kept them there. But they're dangerous because that music app now has all my 2,000 songs, my 20,000 pictures, my 5 movies. Okay. So that's why they don't exist here anymore. And you should, by that same token, if you have music in there that you put in there 10 years ago, move it out, put it in documents folder, or to listen to it, put it in the music app, just like I just did with photos. And then you can listen to it through there. Before I continue with anything else, I see a couple of hands. I want to make sure that we can clarify what I'm saying. In the documents folder, this is you creating all this organization. But when you bought the computer, you bought the house with the 5 rooms. This is the house with the 5 rooms. These are the 5 rooms. And 3 of them are supposed to be barred from you. Like you're not supposed to access them. It's like they're there, but you don't want to touch them. Just like you don't want to touch the system folder or the system library because you'll mess up with a computer. Same thing. You're not supposed to touch the pictures, music, and movies folder anymore. The only folders that we should be touching are downloads, documents, and desktop. That's it. Those are the only folders we should be using ourselves. Any questions that you have about any of this, this is the time to ask. So, Barbara?
My downloads. I don't have a downloads folder over there where I should have it.
Well, it's possible that you removed it from the sidebar. So the
It
way to
is.
get it back is to kind of, do you see over here the word Macintosh hard drive or your name with a little house?
I have my name,
If you see your name,
Barbara's iMac.
okay, click on Barbara's iMac. What do you see under Barbara's iMac? Something like this? Pictures, this is just the same as I was
No,
showing you
that's
before.
not happening.
What do you see when you open Barbara's iMac? Go ahead and share your screen. It's easier.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. So under Barbara's iMac, okay, there you
Here's Barbara's
see, okay, got it. There you see the Macintosh hard applications library system, then users. So double click on users,
But it's,
double click. Okay, and now there's Barbara Walsh, double click. And here you have applications downloads. So grab the downloads and drag it to the left and make some space in between. Start just dragging, put it in your
goes
sidebar.
under was it under application?
It's up to you. It doesn't matter. You choose where you put it. And don't leave it inside. Move it in between them there to get that line. Good. Now let go of your mouse. Good. There's your shortcut to the downloads. Okay. So you just made a shortcut.
Now
you're
I don't have one in applications any longer, right?
What do you mean? Applications is that you're
Well,
in applications right now.
Yeah. But that's where I got downloads from, was over here.
No, you didn't get it from here. You got it from Barbara's iMac users.
Oh.
You
I
went
did-
there, then you went to users, double click users. The applications is up. Look at the word users on the right side. Yeah, now don't move your mouse, but look up 1, 2, 3. You see system, library, and applications. That's the applications folder. That's not where I told you to go. I told you to go to users. Okay, so applications is a different one. So you open users, you open Barbara, and there's your
downloads is
downloads.
still there. Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but let me say what you just said. Downloads is still there because that's where they live. What you put in the sidebar is a shortcut to your downloads folder. It's a
Right.
quick access. Remember, guys, the dock is a quick access to your applications. The sidebar of your Finder window is a quick access to your files and folders, one of which is the downloads. So all you did by dragging it to the left is make a quick access to it. That's what that is. If you go click on the sidebar now and click on the word downloads, it's just a quick access to your downloads folder, which is this one.
Right. I got a million things I need to get out of there.
That's fine.
I just haven't had time.
Today is very brainy, I know, and some people are like, oh, it's just if some of you don't have any of this because your computers are so new, you're like, what are you talking about? A pictures folder that doesn't have files. But others of you have pictures folders that are full of stuff. So I need to kind of balance out, right? Any questions about the pictures, the folder, the music folder, the movie folder, or as I said before, well, I like to have the pictures folder there and I'm not going to move it even if you say so. I'm fine with that. I just want you guys to know the why it's not there anymore. And if you're good about avoiding the photos library file, then sure, keep stuff in there. It's just, it's a dangerous place to be versus there's no danger in the documents folder. If you move things around, you can't mess up the computer. You mess up your files, but not the computer versus the other one messes up the computer.
You know what? I don't have documents over on the left either.
You have it under iCloud, don't you?
Yeah, but it's
Yeah, that's where it is.
in one. Right.
Deanna, I have a question about the photos in the Photos app. So the things that we're not supposed to touch, the Photos library, that basically that's synonymous to the Photos app that we have down, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And I wasn't quite sure, you were talking about moving things out of the Photos app and putting them in a document. I can understand if somebody has photos that are for professional applications, but if you just have your laptop for personal use, do you still recommend moving photos into documents? Is it a question of how many photos?
I don't recommend at all moving anything. I just, if you have photos that are not in the Photos app, that are in your pictures folder, only in that situation that I'm recommending putting them in the documents folder. But hopefully 90% of you guys are not in that situation. When you go to there's nothing there that's wrong. It's only people who have had files for many, many years, and that's where the computer you used to store your photos. But ideally you don't have them. So I'm not
Okay.
asking you to move things anywhere
Okay.
that unless you have them. So I don't want anyone going, oh, let me take photos and put them in document. No, only the ones that are in the wrong place. Right?
Okay.
And the wrong place would be the pictures folder.
I have my photos library. When I click on that pictures, you said I've got my photo library app there.
And if that's all you have, then that's great. So now right click and get rid of that pictures from your sidebar so that you don't touch that anymore. Because you don't want to touch that.
Okay.
So that is the ideal situation. You have it set up like it should be. You only have the Photos Library app in there. Thus, you never need to touch it anymore. So get rid of it from the sidebar by doing right click, remove from sidebar.
So touching it is like playing with fire.
Exactly. You're playing with fire with 22,000 photos or however many each one of us have in there, right? Or in videos. So yeah, just ignore it.
Okay.
Thanks for asking for a clarification on that. Susan.
Yeah, let me get rid of this here. Okay, so in my sidebar, I have the movies and the music. Oh, this is the new computer. So apparently I moved everything over from my old computer to the new one on September 27th around 9:30. So I've highlighted all this music that's in my new computer on this, when I click the music. And I dragged it into just to make sure I dragged it into the app, the music app. So now I can click delete on all this.
Yeah, as long as you go into your music app and you're able to play that music, then that's good. Then you have it, and then that's
move to trash.
Yep, move to trash. Before you empty your trash, go back to music just to make sure and play one of the songs and just to double, triple check. I mean, there's clearly not there, but you know, you always want to double, triple
Yeah,
check just in case.
yeah, I did. I did. I
Mhm.
saw everything that was there and now it's all
Yeah.
highlighted in purple. So now I just move it to trash.
Perfect. Then that's so much more stuff that you don't need
And
now to worry about.
in the sidebar, I get rid of the music.
And then yes, get rid of the music. Mhm.
And same way with movies. I've got a lot of
Yes.
movies over there. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are they movies from, like personal movies, commercial movies? Like what kind of?
Movies I've made, yeah, iMovies, all that.
So, okay, so movie, that's why I'm asking, because if they're movies you've made, the iMovie app works a little bit differently. Keep them there for now. I teach the iMovie app together with the Photos app in the Living the iLife class. So before you just drag them away, just check. So if you open the movies app and you see in the projects file, if you see the movie there and it works, right? Because you play it and it plays, that's good. Then I'm not going to explain how to do all of this for anyone else who's asking about the iMovie app. If you go and find that same movie that you have it in the movies folder, then trash that one. And remember, taking things to the trash is just moving it to another folder, right? That's all it is. Right now, it's not really getting trashed. So then go play it again. And if it plays fine, then that means that was redundant. Then you can empty your trash. But if it doesn't play fine, then leave them there and we'll deal with that as files later, because the iMovies app is a little bit different.
Okay. But
Okay.
still leave it in the sidebar?
No. You don't necessarily, but do you play them from there? What do you do?
No, I'm just saying that this is a new computer, so what you're saying is all new to me. Why I have the movies on the sidebar and, you know, all that.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is though, do you have, when you say a new computer, was it created? Did you make this computer completely from scratch? Like, or
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
but did you import one
Yes.
by one all the files you want, or did you like have the computer set up with your old files?
Yes.
You had it created with your old files, right?
Yeah, from one computer to the next, yeah.
Okay, so that's why they're still there, because you just replicated the structure. That's why you see the movies. If you had started with a completely empty computer and began a completely empty computer and started using it, and every time you wanted a file, you brought it from your old computer, that would be from scratch. Then you wouldn't see the movies folder. But instead, you set up your new computer with the files from your old computer, and thus the structure came from the old computer. Does that make sense?
Right, yes.
And that's why you have that movies there.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. When you guys, when you buy a new computer, most logical in most people, what you do is you just transfer all the files from your old one to your new one, and then you keep working as if nothing happened. All the stuff is in the new computer. That's means that you inherit the exact same structure. If you, whatever you have in one place is still in that place. It's just in a new computer, but the stuff, it's like you grabbed it all and translated it to the new house, and it dumps itself in the same places that you had them before. Okay. And so that's why, even if it's a new computer, it still has the structure of your old computer. All right.
Diane, quick one.
Yeah.
I have thousands and thousands of songs on my PC that died, and Ron's supposed to try to anyway take my hard drives out so I can get the music off, and music that I got or had on my PC downloaded or whatever. Can I try to put that on my Mac if I ever get them back?
Yeah, I did that. Remember the time of DVDs, you guys?
I have gobs of them.
Yeah. So we had gobs of them. And at some point, I don't know, we're talking years and years ago, I started digitizing them. Like you could put them in your computer and turn them from DVDs into a computer file, and then you could play them from your computer. And that was like, wow, how amazing. Now I can play my photos on my computer, save them as files. those files now, if you import them into your music library through the music app, you can hear them through the music app, just like you see your photos through the photos app. So yeah,
So ones that were compatible with the PC would work on a
yeah.
Mac.
Bob, are you there? Isn't that you? I'm just trying to remember. Isn't that you who has a lot of music, or is that another student? Bob, am I targeting the wrong person? There's a student who had a lot of music files.
I did.
think it was you. Yeah, there you go. When he first came to my classes some sessions ago, he had a whole bunch of music files. What did you end up doing with them, just to remember?
Let's see. Let me think back.
I'm looking at the class time. I need to move on to the recents folder. Okay. You guys hang in there with that question for now, because that's, extra. And so I'm kind of segueing by asking you what to do with those files from your PC. Keep them there. Definitely you can import them into your musics folder. I'm going to wait, not make space for Bob's answer because I need to keep moving forward. But yeah,
Diana?
they are files that you can handle. Yeah.
So I have those in the cloud.
Okay, you move them to the cloud. All right, good.
Oh, I can do that.
Okay, so what's this good old recents? I've been talking about all of these, telling you I was going to talk about recents, but this is an important thing. All of these are individual spots and places. The pictures folder is a place, the downloads folder is a place, the applications folder is a place, the documents folder is a place, desktop folder is a place. All of them are separate places where things go. If I'm in my desktop and I click on a file and I look down here at the path, it tells me that this lemon coconut ice cream is inside of the desktop. It's inside of the iCloud. If I go to my downloads folder and I click on a file, that file is inside of my downloads folder, which is inside of my computer users Macintosh. We are all clear on that, right? This is just repeating and repeating and repeating the same stuff. Now, is Recents a place in your computer? No. Recents is not a place in your computer. Recents is not a place where you have duplicate files. Recents is not a place where any of these files are instead of somewhere else. So I'm telling you everything Recent isn't, because it's what most people think. Oh, so I can get rid of the files from here. No, Recents is simply an organizational help. Let me backtrack and go back to downloads. My downloads right now, I am seeing them as alphabetical order. Yeah. If I change them into date added, I will see them as the date that these files entered my computer. Is that one pretty clear about that one? That make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Let me say, what if instead I went to the group and said, instead of date added, I want you to show me date last opened. Now it's seeing that I opened the Rocket. Remember, I opened it today to show you the Rocket. I opened it today. If I go over here, I opened that one today and opened this one today. I opened these 3 today when I was doing stuff with them. In the previous 30 days, these are the ones I opened last. And then in August, I opened those 2. In July, I opened that. So what I've done is I've organized these files in order of date that I last opened them, right? See that? But that's all. It's an organizational change. If I go back to date added, it looks different because it's been sorted differently. It's a sorting. Does that make sense?
Quick,
Like
quick sort.
it's a different kind of sorting. That's all this is, right? But the files haven't changed. They're all still in my downloads folder. If I go to my documents folder and I try to do a sorting here by file kind, it'll sort in one way. If I do a date modified, it'll sort in a different way. If I do date add last opened, it'll sort in a different way, right? So this is just sorting. I'm going to say none to all of that. It's just sorting, but the files haven't changed. Yeah. Everyone in agreement with that one?
Yes.
All right. If I go to recents, all this is a sorting. It's a sorting by date last used. It's exactly the same as in downloads when I went here and I said date last opened would be date last used, date last opened. Okay. That's what that is. That's what that is. Recents, it's a date last opened for all the files on your computer, no matter where they are. It's just a sorting of what were the recent files you used. So if I click on that and look at recents, it goes, see how it's highlighted here? The date last opened is highlighted. So it's telling me that Santa Barbara City College Educational Vision Plan I used today at 1:40 p.m. Rocket I used today at 1:37 p.m. Image, whatever, I used at 1:30 p.m. The screenshot I opened October 9th, last week at 4:20 p.m. Very important document I opened at that same day, and so on and so forth. Okay, but watch, just watch. Where is this file? And I'm going to move this up so we can have a very easy, obvious thing. Where is this file that I opened today? I select it and I go to the path. This file is in downloads. How about this one? This file is also in downloads. How about this one? Oh, this file is in my desktop.
iCloud.
Where's this one? It's in,
Actually, iCloud, isn't it?
I'm muting you a little bit, Barbara, because this one is in my iCloud. Where's this one? Oh, this one's in my desserts, recipes, documents, iCloud. So you see how everything I see under recents is all over the place in my computer. Yeah? Cambria is under Photoshop files to download and my don't move files into documents into iCloud. This is a place where it doesn't matter where they are. It's just giving me a quick organizational mode so that I don't have to find the files. A lot of people don't know how to find files. They don't know to go into your documents and then the documents to open their do not remove, and then the do not remove open their summer rosters in order to find the roster that you need. They don't know how to do that. So you probably didn't know how to do that before you came to this class today. So recents is a solution for not knowing where to find your files. And what's happening is the computer is telling you, well, you want to open this one again? Guess what? You just opened it. So here it is. You can see it here. Most people who work on something work on it and then keep working on it. Like if I were to be doing my taxes, I would be using this file again and again and again. If I didn't know how to make an alias to put it on my desktop, if I didn't know to go to documents, financial, and find it in there, I have one more place I can look for it, which is in recents, because I remember I used it last week. I can go over here, look for last week, and hopefully I'll see it here. It's just an organization, but now of all the files in your computer. It's not a new place. It's the same file. So to be clear, if I look at this lemon coconut ice cream and I go, oh, I don't want this file twice, which is what people misunderstand, because you see it under documents, under recipes, under desserts, there's my lemon coconut ice cream. And they go, oh, why do I have it here and here? I don't need it 2 times. Some people say, and that is the exact wrong way to think about it, because this is the same one file. It's just been organized by date last open. If I delete this one from here, it'll be as if I deleted it from here, because it's not a copy. It is not a duplicate. It is the same file. Like when I told you that if you go to the cloud and you delete it from the cloud, it disappears from the computer. If you go to Recents, and now I'm going to do that, I'm going to grab this lemon coconut ice cream. I'm going to right click and I'm going to move it to the trash from the Recents. Because some people go, oh, I don't need it again. Guess what? If I go to my documents, my desserts, my lemon coconut ice cream is gone because it was just one file. I was just seeing it in a different way. Does that make sense, you guys? So you should not delete things from Recents. I'm going to go ahead and do Command Z to undo so that it pops in again. There it is again. I just did a Command Z. So if I look at my documents, there it is again. But that wasn't a magic trick. It's just that in Recents,
You can send me
s-
that recipe.
in Recents, it's organized in order of when I opened it versus in Documents, it's organized in order of where I have it stored. But it's the same file. A lot of people go, oh, well, if I don't need all of these, I can save space in my computer. No, these are every single file that you have in your computer. They are everything you have in your computer organized by when you opened it. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom of this one, you'll see that I have something here that's from 2021, 2022, because this is when I basically began using this computer. And where is it? This file from 2021. This is when I opened it. I opened this one last in 2021. I haven't needed this one for 4 years. But if I need it, where is it? Oh, it's in my Mac class folder, in my Do Not Remove, in my documents, in my iCloud Drive. But I haven't needed it since 2021. I'm going to hit the preview to see what it is. And it's like, oh, it's when I was teaching people about these 4 apps. It's a little screenshot I took and that I use in my handouts. But I haven't needed it since 2021, but it's still valid. This is still true. So I'm not going to get rid of it. But if I get rid of it from here, it will disappear from there, from that folder in my iCloud. Okay? Here, so a lot of people scroll down and they find that they have like 2017. If your computer they've been using since 2017, you'll have dates from wherever. 2022, 2023, 2024. And here I am in you know, in October or whatever it is now, November. No, it's still October of 2024. Every single file that I have in my entire computer has been aggregated here just in an order of when they were last opened. And if I've never opened them and I just transferred them from another computer, then they're not here at all. You might, if you just bought your computer today and you look at Recents, you might see 5 files, the 5 that you opened in the last few days, and it'll have today's date. In 3 years, those files will be at the bottom of the barrel because they'll have been opened in 2024, and by now it'll be 2028, and you haven't used it since the day you bought the computer. It'll be down there. So do not delete anything from here that you don't want gone from your computer, because if you delete it from here, it'll be gone from here, and it'll be gone from the cloud if you have them in the cloud, and it'll be gone from your other access points. Okay. Questions?
Do you ever click on last used to reverse the instead of scrolling all the way to the bottom when you have a long
Yeah, I see what you mean.
you know what I mean? I
So
can't
on
get it
date
out.
last used, yeah, if I were to, as before, if I were to click on this again, this would inverse itself, right? And at the very bottom would be today's, and at the very top would be the one from 2021, right? So whenever you click on the word date last open, you inverse it, you inverse it, you inverse it, you inverse it, right? So it's the same thing applies to this folder as to if I were checking out my documents and I were to inverse them here by size or by date modified or by name. Recents, the only organization it has is by opened. So I can do forward or backwards if I click on it, right?
Is it okay to do
So-
that? Because I do that a lot instead of scrolling.
Yeah, of
But
course.
I know I have to go to the bottom.
Yeah. Some people don't really remember this and other people do and use it to your event. When I need to find a photo that's a PNG, I'm not going to scroll through 400 photos looking for the PNG, I'm going to click by kind and I'm going to scroll only to the PNGs. And then I basically can look at only my PNGs and try to find the file I need. Does that make sense? Let me go to here. Go. Now I have 40 images to look at instead of 426, right? But then I'll go back to name or I'll go back to date last open. Like you can just sort in different ways. So recents is merely a way of seeing your files in case you have no idea where you put it, but you might remember that you used it yesterday or last week or last month, and you don't know where else to find it. Then you go over here and you find it because, oh yeah, it looks like 2 days ago I used my novel and I know where to find it. So I'll find it from here. And can it open from here? Yes, of course. If I double click on a file here and I double click and, you know, to use it or to view it from here, it will open from here. It's the same file. Oh, I'm not sharing my entire screen. So it opened, right? I can open it from here. I can open that from here. There it is. It's just as valid to open it from here as it is to open it from here, or from here, but it just happens to be shown to me in order of opening. That's it, not in order of where it is. Which is why
do
this
that
little
a
path
lot
is
just to
so
see
valid.
what's in them.
So here's the thing. If no questions exist, if you totally got it, like you understand what recents is, give me a yes. If you still have questions and you're not sure, and can I delete stuff? Why do I have things twice? That kind of thing, please keep asking.
I have a question.
Yep.
So I'm not sure if what I understood about deleting it. It seems to me like recents is kind of like a tracker, so we can track every action that we've done on our computer, and it can help us to find things if we need to use it for that. But can we also delete things from the recent?
You can, as long as you understand that you're deleting that file from wherever it's stored.
Okay.
Right? If I look at this file here, and the one that I opened in 22 there, and you go, what's this file? And you go, oh, yeah, I don't need that anymore. And you don't want to go all the way to the folder called Screenshots, Documents, Cloud. You have it right here. You don't need it. Just delete it from here. It's fine.
Okay.
It goes away.
So
But
it's an
it
easy
disappeared
way.
from there.
Mhm.
Yeah, like many times you'll go to old files and go, God, I still have that in my computer. Oh, I don't need that
Right.
anymore. Why do I have it? Get rid of it. But just as long as you understand and know that that's what's happening, a lot of times, I must have done a better job this time of explaining it, because a lot of times people are left with the fact that, oh, this is a copy or something, and they just want to get rid of the copy. Why do I have 250 photos in here? You know, I kept hearing, why do I have 428 files in here? If I were to get rid of them, would I empty more space in my computer? And I'm like, well, sure, you would, because you would be deleting all the stuff that you put in your documents folder. So again, it's the same file that you're deleting. If you delete it from here because you see it and you go, oh, I don't need this one. Sure, get rid of it from here. It's going to delete itself from the web class exercises. Do not remove from here, documents, cloud. That's where it disappears from. So sure, this is a great way to say, oh, I don't need it. Right click, move to trash, right click, move to trash. You can do that totally. But
Okay.
But it's not staying somewhere else. It's going away from somewhere else. That's the key point I'm trying to make, but sure.
Okay. So as long as we understand this is a permanent delete.
Yep.
This is a very efficient way of cleaning up clutter if we see it
Yeah.
as clutter.
Mhm.
Okay.
Totally.
Awesome.
Because instead of having to go into each folder to go, do I need that recipe anymore? I don't know. Let me see. I have to go and go on my soups. Oh, yeah, I don't use that one anymore. Butternut squash soup, this is an old recipe. I have to delete it from there, but I didn't know if I was in the right place. If I go to recents and I find my butternut squash soup in 2021, I can basically assume that if I haven't made the recipe in 4 years, I probably won't use it. Sure, delete it from there. On the other hand, maybe it's grandma's recipe and you haven't used it in 4 years, but you know that one of these days you're going to use it, then don't delete it, right?
Right, right.
Yeah,
Okay, great. Thanks.
you're welcome. Barbara? You're muted.
Sorry if everybody's asked their questions.
Yeah,
I noticed you have a save as under your save. I think I noticed that.
I have a what?
Save as under your save. When,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and I don't, and I used to. I was wondering how I could put that.
File save or save as, you'd have to have an app open.
I
Let me stop
opened one.
Okay, so since that is completely different than what we were talking about, just give me a second because that is like
There.
not even here. Let me just stop for a minute because I am at 4 p.m. The class will be done at 4:10. If there is no other questions, I have one more thing I want to show you, which might actually, Barbara, answer your question. In
Okay.
fact, so now what I want to clarify is if there's any other questions about recents, and I'm looking at the chat. Catherine, what is so helpful. Didn't know that I could look at them by date added. This sorting come in handy. Can we click on it and see the printed in my class? Very helpful in my
Just
class.
saying
Okay.
thank you, because I've sorted them by size and stuff like that, but I'm
Not
all
by last used.
organizing so many different files. That's great.
great.
Thank you.
And then Robin, you said, what is the My Docs to Go folder? Robin, are you there? Where is that folder? You're muted. I saw your hand say like yes, but you're muted. If you're talking to me, you're muted, so I can't hear you. Better.
Hang it on your neck.
I'm playing with two.
Whoops. Now I'm muted from both places. Okay. It's but anyway, any folder that's called something like that is a new one. You must have made that name some point or something like that. Or sometimes there are some apps, like I just told you, Adobe makes a folder called Adobe for you. I didn't make it. Maybe you had an application that made that folder for you, but it's not a system folder. So I wouldn't know.
I think yeah, it's not working.
You'd write it in the chat. And then while you're writing in the chat, Denise says, can we rename a document in Resense? Oh, of course you can. It is your folder. It is your file, right? So if instead of very important document in Word, where is it? It's let me go for one that we just used. So here in the downloads, I have this image called image GP079. If I go look at it in downloads, and if I go to the here, let me just put it in date added. Image, there it is. PO792, is that the same one? PO792. Okay, so here it is, the downloads, it's right there. Image PO792. If I go to Resense, there I'm seeing image 92. If I right click and rename it in Resense, right? I'm gonna call this one changed in Resense, right? So if I change the name in Resense, if I now go to downloads, that file now is going to be called, and I need to find it now by, there it is, changed in Resense. See, it changed because it's the same one, right? So if I change it in there, I change it in here. If I delete it from there, I delete it from here. Okay. It's just an organizational. There it is. Now, both times it's called changed in Resense. Okay. Was that it? Got it?
Yeah, thank you. So we can change
welcome.
it directly in Resense.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Robin, can I put an .aax sound file in iTunes? Probably. You know how she mentioned iTunes? iTunes isn't an app anymore on the Macs. It was, but now it's called Music. It got divided into 2 or 3 apps. Now we have an app called Music, one called Podcasts, one called TV. Before it was all under one called iTunes. So if you still have iTunes, are you working on an older operating system, Robin?
No, I'm not. Can
And you
hear-
still have iTunes on your computer?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. No, but my current system is new. I'm on Sequoia
Okay.
14.
And you have iTunes app?
However, my computer was upgraded from the old one.
Okay, so if you go and look for the applications folder, you do have an iTunes application?
Well, down at the bottom, I have in my dock, when I look at music,
If I go, let me share my screen.
it
If
goes.
I
to-
go to my applications now, go to the I and see if you have the I, A, B, C, D, E, F, G image. See how I don't have iTunes anymore? Because it's been divided into music and podcasts and TV and news. They've just divided it. Before it was all in one thing called iTunes. It became so big that it's gone anymore. Do you still have it here under applications?
I don't know. I'm checking.
Yeah. Because when you click on the app
I
here
have-
that says iTunes, it's probable that maybe music
have
is
a-
opening up.
I have something called music. I have something called iTunes. I have.
You do have the iTunes. Okay. So
but
then
they're
that was,
separate. So one, it must be old and must be newer.
yeah, look at, it's
There's
probably
also TV.
it's probably grandfathered in.
Yeah, I don't.
What I request you do, and I don't have time to check it out right now, but I request you do is check and see if there's an iTunes, a song that you like to play. Go check and see if you have it also in music. It should have transferred itself. And at some
Okay.
point, iTunes
I
would, at some
hear
point,
what you're saying. And then I can know if I can move these old,
yeah.
I have an audio book
Mm-hmm.
that I downloaded onto my computer because I was gonna lose it from Audible.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to put it someplace that I can listen to it.
Well, now there's an app called Books.
Oh,
So
really?
that's where you listen to them now. So now there's
even
there it
audiobooks.
is. Yeah, there it is, the app called Books. That's where you listen to all the audiobooks now. So
And also
take that
ebooks.
file, if you take that file and you put it into Books, you can listen to
Okay.
it through the
Okay,
audio
great.
app Books. That's another example. All of it was in iTunes before. You can listen to everything now. Books is for books,
I
music is for
thought books was
music.
for reading.
It also does audiobooks.
Okay, great.
You know what? I'm pretty sure the
I
new
can always
version.
move it out of there.
Well, open it.
It's
Yeah,
all right.
yeah. Welcome to Apple Books. Find great books and audiobooks you can read or listen to now on the Books app.
Oh,
So yeah.
good.
Mhm. So yeah, let me just share.
Okay, great.
I just opened my Books app and you can see books and you can see audiobooks.
Yeah, I dumped it in and it told me I needed to authorize from Audible.
Well, that's the thing though, exactly, that now they all protect each other's,
Yeah, they have each other's back.
things.
Well,
So
the
if you
problem is that
double click on it to hear it, see where else it offers you to open it, maybe it'll appear as a sound and it'll
Yeah,
just play. I don't know.
I bought these books and then they decided to take them away.
Oh, I have had Audible forever and I've never had a book be taken
That's right.
away.
That's right.
Unless they were free. The free ones they can take
They were
away.
not,
But if you
they were not free.
really,
I bought them, but they're offering a different version of it, but I don't like that version.
that's interesting. Okay, I don't want to get into that because
Nope,
it's
no,
407,
we'll
but
be
that's
fine.
interesting. I have books on Audible that as far as I'm concerned, they haven't gone away, but I haven't checked every book, so maybe that's happening to
I
some
think
books.
the author got mad at Audible.
Yeah, but if you bought it, you bought it. Like they can
I-
take it away from new users, but they can't.
I know.
Anyway, did you call them? Did you talk? Anyway, this isn't about today's class, but yeah, I would check in. Anyway,
My And then I said my Docs to Go file may be a way to transfer folders from the phone to computer, but I guess with the cloud,
No.
we don't really need that, do we?
Yeah, I don't think so. No,
I
I've
think
never
that's an
heard of it.
I think
It's
that's an
probably
old-
from in the long time ago. Let me see my Docs to Go. Docs to Go is an app called Docs to Go Office Suite that you can download. Does Docs to Go still exist? It was discontinued in March 2022.
Okay, good.
There you go. I Googled things that I don't know, and there you go. It was discontinued.
Okay, thank you.
All right, guys, keep organizing, keep getting rid of stuff you don't need, keep, adding folders and subfolders. What I'm going to do on Wednesday is confirm that you have good structures in your documents folder, that you know how to organize stuff, any other question about organizing, and do the work between here and Wednesday. Do some more work so you have questions. And then if I can move forward with other stuff, I will. But if there's still questions about organization, that'll be your chance before we move into Mac Level 2 the following week, where we start working on all these apps. Okay? All right. Denise, send me an email to remind me, because right now I'm going to go on break and I need an email because this chat disappeared.
Okay.
Okay?
I'll send you an email.
Send me an
right
email right now. When I go check, I'll see it.
Okay.
Hey
thank you.
guys, see you
Diane, can I just
on
drag that
Wednesday.
over?
Drag what?
What I wanted to put over over in the column with the applications and iCloud and that stuff.
Yeah. It's
I'll
a
try it.
shortcut place. So you
Okay.
can make a shortcut there.
I'll
Mhm.
try that then.
Okay.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye, Sarah. Bye, Barbara. Bye, everyone.